an idea but can't seem to bring it to life? Stop by and let us help you make your ideas a reality. Come see us at 620 Berne Street in Berne or call 260-525-0471.
One is more than a number. It's pride in our history and the promise of what's to come. One farmer, one seed, one season. One changes everything. In 1926, Henry A. Wallace and the founders of Pioneer revolutionized farming, and we've been innovating ever since. 100 starts with one. Our 100th season starts with you.
Are you in the market for a used vehicle, or are you looking for a rental van or trailer? CMA Truck and Auto provides a variety of vehicles in a variety of price ranges, and Swiss City Vans offers rental services for a range of equipment. We invite you to visit us in person at the south edge of Berne on US 27, or to visit us online at cmatruckandauto.com, where you can sort our inventory by price range. You can also visit our Facebook page, where we keep in touch with our customers and promote giveaways. Enjoy the vehicle buying process without hidden fees or high-pressure sales at CMA.
Passion. It's inside the barn at 5 a.m. It's dirty boots, calloused hands, and the energy to keep going. Passion is every step, again and again. Passion. It's giving it the best you've got. It's hard work that pays off. Show right. Feed your passion.
Where you're going and how you get there matters. Along the way, the right financial guidance can make all the difference. That's why there's Everence. Together, charting your path with a full range of caring financial services. For starting out, growing your future, caring for loved ones, and sharing with others. In a life of faith and impact, it's your financial journey. Let's go. Visit us at everence.com/Berne.
Any brand, any color. You break it, we'll fix it. Nussbaum Mechanical is located just north of Berne. Along with over 175 years of combined service in the field, Nussbaum Mechanical offers a wide range of rental equipments and attachments. If you're looking to upgrade your equipment or starting from scratch, whether it's new or used, they can help to find the right machine for you. Stop and see the full line of Gale and Manitou equipment with leasing and financing options available, along with a full line of Manitou parts and attachments. Call 260-589-3802 to find out what we have to offer.
Arnold Lumber at 425 Winchester Street in Decatur is a complete building center for all building contractors and do-it-yourselfers. We supply every facet of building supplies that you will need to complete your next project, but we can also help you get the work done. We install doors, windows, overhead doors, and roofs locally when the materials are purchased from us. We install pole barn packages all over Indiana, Ohio, and southern Michigan, and we provide rooftop delivery with shingle purchases. Open 7 to 5 Monday through Friday and 7 to 12 on Saturday. Let us help you with all of your construction project needs.
Farming is more than a livelihood. It's a legacy. Simplot was founded by a hardworking farmer like you over 90 years ago, and we've been growing America's farms for generations. With local crop advisors grounded in your success, Simplot Grower Solutions is in your fields and by your side. We dig in deep to pinpoint what you need, where you need it, when you need it, even when the forecast is unpredictable.
Since opening Miller Land Surveying in 2005, we've grown to not only service Adams County, but the entire Northeast Indiana region. Business growth has led us to expand with additional field crews, advanced technology, locations in both Monroe and Fort Wayne. Miller Land Surveying partners with various clients to aid in residential and commercial real estate transactions, development of schools, industrial parks, subdivisions, various commercial development projects, and more. At Miller Land Surveying, precision and professionalism is where we draw the line.
At FM Investment Services, we continue to serve and advise our clients with dedication and experience, and our team includes 2 registered investment professionals. Leif Lickinger, with over 30 years of experience helping clients navigate their financial journeys, and Lori Garwood, bringing more than 25 years of investment expertise to the table. Together, Lee and Lori are committed to helping you achieve your financial goals, and supporting them is Tina Marbaugh, Administrative Assistant, who has 4.5 years of experience in the investment field. Call us today, 260-368-9939 to schedule your consultation. FM Investment Services, experience you can trust, advice you can count on.
At Zerker's Best One, we've changed our name to Best One of Monroe. Still the same family ownership, simply a new name. Same great people, same great service, same great prices. You know who we are.
We are serving customers first.
We are trustworthy.
We are passionate.
We are committed.
We are community focused.
We are locally owned.
We are the family you've depended on for over 70 years. We are Best One of Monroe.
Best One of Monroe, celebrating 75 years of selling tires, serving people.
Krukeberg Auction and Realty of Decatur is dedicated to providing you with a grand auction experience. Their stellar team has over 100 years of combined listing and sales experience, specializing in auctioning homes, personal property, land, farms, equipment, antiques, and business liquidations. Licensed in Indiana and Ohio, call Krukeberg Auction and Realty at 724-7402 or stop by 1030 South 13th Street in Decatur. Make the best choice by making Krukeberg Auction and Realty your first choice for a grand auction and realty experience.
Cooper Farms raises turkeys, hogs, and chickens for table eggs, using innovative, sustainable practices that protect our land, our water, and our animals. With over 2,500 team members and around 450 contract family farmers, we produce the highest quality essential food ingredients and products. Our family shares this legacy of stewardship with families, team members, our customers, and the community.
Here at the local Keystone Energy office in Monroe, our drivers, service technicians, administrative assistants, and sales staff are centered on you. We work hard to meet your energy needs with superior products and exceptional service.
We are here to lead with purpose, serve with impact, grow responsibly with our local community, embrace our roots and humble beginnings.
Keystone Cooperative Monroe team is centered on you.
Take charge of your finances with Financial Partners. FCU's You Choose Rewards credit card options. Choose a fixed rate card with an APR as low as 8.00% for consistent payments. Need a fresh start with credit? The Premier card offers a fixed 13.99% APR. Both require credit approval. Apply today at financialpartnersfcu.org. Financial Partners FCU. Member NCUA. Equal housing lender.
At Swiss Village, our mission is simple: pursuing life together. Every day, we create a community where life is full, active, and meaningful. Here, neighbors become friends, team members feel like family, and every moment matters. Whether you're searching for a vibrant place to live or a rewarding place to work, you'll find it here at Swiss Village. Swiss Village, pursuing life together. Learn more at swissvillage.org.
Leaky Farms Trucking, LLC is located outside of Berne, Indiana. Leaky Farms Trucking specializes in the transportation of ag and general commodities with a wide range of dump, belt, hopper, dry, van, refrigerated, tanker, and flatbed trailers. We would like to wish good luck to all 4-H'ers in the fair this year. Give John or Ted a call for any of your upcoming transportation needs. John at 260-525-4748 and Ted at 260-849-0770.
Partnerships thrive, integrity leads the way, and dedication meets innovation. Tried and true. Trueland Equipment. We have the tools and services you need to work the land. A John Deere provider with a broad inventory, assisting you in service and technical support. We respond to your concerns quickly. For all your equipment needs, choose Truland Equipment, where provider means partner.
Ms. Lehman Realtors and Auctioneers have been serving this great community since 1960.
We are here to help you through all stages of life.
From commercial properties
to auctions
to farmland and equipment
and owning your first home.
We have the expertise and experience you can count on.
Visit us in person or online at mslehman.com.
All right, well, welcome this evening. We are here at the Adams County 4-H Fair. We've got Supreme Showmanship tonight. While the contestants are right now, they're out at the Horse and Pony Arena getting done with kind of the first of the 8 species that we're going to see them show tonight. And before they kind of come back in here and get started while they're out at the horse arena, we have a very special guest on with us. We've got Miss Ellie Lingrich, the 2026 Miss Adams County. Welcome, Miss Ellie.
Hi.
We are so excited to kind of chat with you about your experience as Miss Adams County. So tell me first a little bit what your fair has been like so far this week, some of the fun things you've done. Tell me a little bit about that.
So last year, McKenna Swartz actually started a little tradition of handing out tiaras to the little girls, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun to do that again, and I did, and it has been so much fun seeing their little smiles whenever we give them a tiara. And some of them actually think I'm a real princess.
Yeah.
I think it's really cute and funny.
I had a little girl come up to me yesterday, and she goes, "Guess what? I look gorgeous today, don't I?" And I said, "Yeah, you do." And she goes, "It's because I got a tiara from the princess."
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
They're
sweet.
So sweet, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many tiaras do you think you've passed out so far?
So actually, I kept count then. 166.
Oh my word.
And I am out. We bought some more, but they haven't arrived yet.
Yeah.
But hopefully whenever they do come in, I'll be able to hand them out more at different events.
Yeah, that's awesome. That 166, that's awesome. I love that. So as far as you kind of passed out tiaras so far, but then you were also in the parade, you kind of had some other responsibilities throughout the fair. What were some of those?
So at the pedal pool, I was able to hand out suckers to little kids too. And then, like you said, in the parade, I got to ride on a really cool car, and it was really fun with my little miss, Zendaya Harms, right next to me. And that was really exciting because, you see all these people you know and all your friends, and you get to wave to them, and it's fun.
Yeah,
and
you had a whole team passing out candy for you too.
We did. We had a lot of people. My family and then family friends too. They all helped and passed it out. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. What would you say maybe has been your favorite part of the fair so far?
I still think the tiaras.
The tiaras?
The best part, yeah. Just because, knowing that I was able to meet with 166 kids and, kind of be a good role model for them, that's exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and they look up to you not just because of the crown. The crown kind of attracts their attention in a way, but when they're met with such kindness and somebody stops and pays attention to them and really invests and asks what their name is and talks to them, that's a really cool connection that you get to build. And I'm sure they're all going to recognize you when they see you throughout the year. They'll be like, "I talked to that princess."
Yeah. One actually watched me show, and then afterwards she was like, "Hey, that's the princess." And I didn't have my tiara on then.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, that was sweet. She still recognized me."
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that speaks to the power of your personality, of being able to connect with them, and you don't even need the tiara for them to be standing there in awe of, "Oh my gosh, there's the princess." I love it. Can you talk a little bit too? Obviously, you showed this morning. I guess I know that. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the project that you showed this morning and how that went for you?
Yeah, so I had 5 heifers, brown Swiss, dairy cattle to show this morning, and my one, her name is Riona, which is kind of
cute.
Funny, but she did really good actually, and she got the grand brown Swiss one, champion one, and that was fun. But
yeah,
some of them were a little wild because it was cooler out today, so that made it a little more exciting. You know,
I was gonna say the cold kind of gets the cows excited.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun though, even though but they were a little spunky.
Yeah, well, and there's a pretty big crowd in here watching this afternoon. For any of you guys who maybe tuned into the dairy show, there was a pretty big crowd of people here to support the students, and so it was really fun to kind of get to watch you show and be a part of all of that. And obviously you had some really great success today too. So yeah. So you said you had 5 of them in there today?
Yeah, I did have 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, maybe you can talk a little bit, what are you most excited for this next year as you're kind of looking forward you kind of just started your role as Miss Adams County.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking forward to most through the next year?
Yeah. So I just became Miss Adams County on June 20th, so I'm about a little over 1 month into it.
Yeah.
And I think I want to do a lot more community outreach, so maybe going to more nursing homes and daycares and getting to meet more people and make more of an impact in our community to help out.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool to see you've already met with this many kids and had a lot of people that you've interacted with in this 1 week. I think that is really exciting to know that then you still have a year ahead of you. That's a lot of people that you're going to get to meet, a lot of little girls that are probably going to be staring at your tiara, and so that's really exciting. So.
I'm very excited for it. I was so thankful for it, how well it's went already.
Yeah. Can you also maybe talk a little bit, you mentioned you had a ton of family and friends who were really, really supportive of you. What are some of the ways that maybe your family and friends have kind of stepped up to help you now that you're Miss Adams County?
So I think the most shocking one is my dad actually wore a pink t-shirt through a parade just to support me. That one threw me off for a little bit, but I thought that was pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
And so many people reached out to me afterwards too and congratulated me. I was like, oh, that was so sweet. And people came up to me and congratulated me. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you knew about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. We have talked with quite a few people that the community support in Adams County is kind of crazy. It's very rare. And so it's when you get an award or a title or something like that, the amount of people who congratulate you and support you that maybe you didn't even really know were watching or paid attention or really cared and wanted to invest in you. So it's really cool that you have been able to experience that.
And everyone is so generous too. Even all the little tiny businesses, they donate or they come to watch you. There's so much support and so much generosity that's going on.
I saw as you guys were kind of listening through some of the sponsors at the Miss Adams County pageant, you guys got quite a few goodies and stuff sent with you, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It was really exciting and it was fun.
Yeah. I was going to say, look, I think they sent some to all of the contestants, and then especially you got a lot as Miss Adams County. People were very, very generous with that.
They were.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing a little bit about your time as Miss Adams County. I am sure most of the viewers are going to get to see you around. Especially, do you have anything going on with Swiss Days this weekend?
Yes,
Are you going to be there?
I'll be at Swiss Days to judge the Little Miss Swiss Days, and then I'll be in the parade there too.
Okay, well, be on the lookout for Ellie Lingrich, Miss Adams County, not only at Swiss Days this weekend, but for sure in this next year. We're excited, and we'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellie.
Well, it looks like they're still in the horse and pony barn and finishing up there. So, Mary, let's go ahead and let's talk to them about what's all going to happen tonight and kind of maybe the order of how things are going to work and go through that. So.
Yeah, I was going to say I was introducing Ellie and kind of failed to introduce myself. My name's Mary Girard. I'm here with Mike Jones. We've got Clint Anderson here on the camera for Supreme Showmanship tonight. But for those of you who are tuning in and maybe just kind of watching and not sure what you're tuning into, Supreme Showmanship is kind of the culmination of this week. We've got a lot of showmen who've put in a lot of time and effort to their own animals and their own species, and the best showmen out of 8 of those species have all been chosen by the judges to compete tonight for the overall showman, really. We've got 8 different species, as I said. They're doing horse and pony right now. Another one represented is poultry. We've got swine, dairy, sheep, beef, goats, and starter calf.
Yeah. Our county fairs, we've talked about it before. There's 92 counties in Indiana, and each county fair does theirs differently. And so ours is unique, and that's okay. Some county fairs, what they'll do is they pick a winner from each species, and then they make it a day event. For example, they'll bring them in at lunch and they'll go through quizzes, quizzing. They'll ask them general knowledge about the animal, parts of the animal and feed and stuff like that. And then what they'll do is they'll go through and bring them out in the arena, and then they show all the different species, and they pick a round robin. Some maybe do like ours. Ours is mainly just showing. Now, that's not saying the judge, they will ask questions of these students or members, when they're out here. So they'll ask some general knowledge questions. And we'll kind of try to go through that tonight, pull out some questions they might ask, and maybe quiz you if you're listening in to see what you know and don't know and stuff like that. So every county fair is different. Some county fairs, they will have a judge per species. Like, for example, there's going to be one judge that does horse and pony only, and that's all they do. And then what they do is they give them a ranking, and they go from there. And then
kind of experts in that division. They almost pull one expert for each species, but tonight we've got one judge who's judging all 8.
Correct. I was just over Wells County last week, and they actually did, people did 2 species at a time. So, like, I know one lady did, she did the dairy goats and then the dairy heifers. And then they rank them, and then the next one did 2, and on down the line. So, every county fair is different. And we'll kind of talk about that throughout the night on how some differences with that. So, like Mary mentioned, we're gonna have one judge. Now, here in Adams County, what the judge will do is, so we talked about they have 8 contestants, right? So they're going to rank them. So when they're over there right now doing a horse and pony, and we'll kind of get into the horse and pony in a second so you kind of understand what they're doing. But they will give them ranking basically 1 through 8. So when they're done over there at the horse and pony, they're going to have a student that's currently in first place, ranked first, and then a student ranked 8th in last place. And obviously that doesn't matter because they got to do all 8 species. That could change. A person could be last place in the horse, but then turn around and win a bunch of them, and so then it changes with that. So that's kind of how
take those rankings, and then of course the extension office here has the ability to tally those, and essentially it's the one with the lowest score or the one who is ranked the highest in the most amount of divisions. And so instead of just kind of following and being ranked at the very end after she's seen everything, the judge is walking through in each species, assigning the ranking, folding that paper essentially and putting it away, and then the final tally will then come fully based on those scores.
Correct. Exactly. So then obviously the members will have name tags because the judge will not have any idea what species these students are representing. So for an example, if you were watching earlier this week, you might have seen the sheep show. So when they pick their winner, the premier winner, the judge tonight does not know who that person representing the sheep show, and that kind of keeps it. Hey, you gotta earn it. It's, I've seen county fairs. What they do is, let's say, okay, you won the sheep species, you automatically get a 1. You don't need to show. And so, but Adams County is like, no, we want you to earn it, so we're going to make you do it that way. So everybody's different. Some county fairs, we've seen it where they what they do is they rank them 1 to 10, and you can actually rank all 8 students as a 10, an 8, a 2 or 5, or you can do a mixture. Like you can give 2 10s, a couple 8s, a couple 6s, whatever. So
you assign like a number score instead of a ranking.
Yeah, like how did that student do for that species? Let's say you had 2 really good kids. You're like, man, they really rocked it. So I'm going to give them both 10s. I think they both well deserving. I don't know if I could pick one that should win overall. So
I think it's interesting that we've chosen, I guess, as a county or the extension office who kind of made that decision to not tell the judge. I think that gives everybody then an equal playing field that, like you said, they not only have to earn their own species that they came and represented and kind of prove that they know what they're doing, but then that gives them an equal playing field in species that they're not comfortable with. They don't automatically have a leg up or a leg down in those. It's everybody on the same, and she's not going to be judging and trying to pick. She's making a guess of, well, I think this person is the poultry person, so I'm going to rank them higher. She's evaluating their experience.
How they do tonight. Yes, and stuff like that. Exactly. So it is solely based on tonight. And Mary, you keep saying she because it is a female judge. We'll talk about who that is a little bit and kind of do introductions. But just a couple things real quick. It looks like some people are starting to funnel in, so we want to talk. Some typically things they do in the horse showmanship. The reason we're not showing it right now is because it's in a horse arena, and to be able to take the camera over there, bring it over here is just not feasible. But they give them a pattern. And so, like, for example, the student's going to have one horse on the lead rope, and then they're going to usually they walk them to a cone, and then they have to trot them to the next cone, and then they have to make them do a pivot on one leg, usually the rear leg. They pivot in a circle, and then they walk them to the next spot, and sometimes they make them back into a spot, and then what the judge will do is they'll do an inspection of the horse. So the student has to stand off to the side. And all throughout tonight, you're going to hear us say the student must show the animal at all times to the judge. So you never want to be between you and the judge and the animal. And so when they're doing the horses, they have to make sure they're standing off. So, and it's kind of, and once you see it once, you're kind of like, oh, that makes sense. They're standing to the side as the judge walks around and inspects the horse itself. So
if it's kind of maybe for dummies or you've never seen anything with a horse show, if you think of like the dog obstacle courses you've seen on TV, in a sense it's kind of the same, where it's one course or one pattern and they all have to complete it. So they're not only maybe watching the ones who went before them with a horse, watching how to complete it and make sure they're following directions.
Yeah.
That's a big part of horse and pony that's maybe different than other species, is you have that pattern on paper and you're supposed to follow that to a T.
Right,
so
right.
Memorization and following those instructions is a huge part, pretty much just as important as your ability to stand and show off the horse.
Right, because like we was mentioning, like they'll walk them to a cone or a spot in the ring, and then they got to make them trot. And again, if you've ever worked with any animal, let alone a horse, you can't just snap a finger and start trotting. And so you got to again learn how to do that. Some of these students, we talk about 8 students. Some of these students have probably never put a hand on a horse before. Now, hopefully, they've been preparing for this contest tonight, and they have this week. But even that, maybe an hour before, like, for example, we had the dairy show this morning, and the person that won the dairy portion of it, did they practice with the horse between, I think the dairy show, got over about 1 o'clock. That's when they had showmanship. So did they take the time and go and handle a horse?
Yeah, I was going to say they only had about 5 hours, essentially, to prep that. And if they were not able to maybe get a ton of prep time in, that's
right.
Maybe a little intimidating, just especially for those who have maybe shown cattle, and anybody who's shown horses knows that they're very unique in the way you show them.
Yeah.
You can't kind of yank on their chain like you can a steer, because that could be very dangerous in a lot of cases.
Right. When like you said, the cattle, when they're acting up, you usually yank down, right? Well, with the horse, that's the complete opposite. You want to let go of the rein, kind of let it come back and let the horse be calmer and stuff like that. But these animals, they're all unique. They're all different, just like us. And so that you got to learn that animal. So something you'll see tonight and hopefully you may not be able to see it as much off the camera, but before they handle that animal, these students should be walking around their animal and getting a feel for their animal, maybe asking questions like, because a lot of times the owner, it's their horse or their animal, say, okay, is it a male or female? Is it, what breed is it? How much does it weigh? What are some things I should not do and do? So they might be, quizzing them real quick before they come in the ring and stuff like that. So, yeah, it does look like they're coming in, wrapping up here. We are going to be starting a poultry, and you can see that on your camera. We have 2 chickens in here. We're going to be doing the poultry in a little bit. And I'm sure somebody will do a formal introductions to the whole crowd, and that's fine. We're just going to keep going and talk about that. Some other things with horses, let's talk.
I was going to say, too, if you want to maybe explain how they are assigned the animals that they're showing.
Oh, exactly.
They will essentially draw those. They have like 8 little pieces of paper, and they are randomly assigned an animal.
Correct. So, like, they're going to have a back tag number on them right now. So, like, let's say one member has number 1. So the whole night they're going to have number 1. And so then what they're going to do is put numbers in a drawing, and each kid will draw a number. So the one round they may get number 1, the next round they may get number 5, number 6. Don't matter. So that way it's random on what animal you get. Now there is an exception, and that might happen tonight. Let's say, like, I think for example, in the dairy portion of it, the student representing the dairy, one of his heifers is being shown. They will make sure he does not get his own. So in that, like, maybe it's the sheep species. If the students and they tried as best they can, they try to make sure they don't use that student's animals, so it's not an advantage on that. So then they will do that. So they're picking.
Kind of done something. It depends on the species, but I know in like dairy they said they pulled a specific class and they told them this morning these are going to be the ones that we use in Supreme Showmanship. Yeah. So those exhibitors know that their animals are going to be used. They've got them prepped. Some of the other species, they asked for volunteers. Like, would you be willing to let your animal be used? So all of the animals you're going to see these students show tonight have been exhibited at the fair by someone.
Correct.
And they have offered them up for these 8 individuals to then randomly be assigned to them. And then they have to then present those to our judge tonight.
And like, okay, I can speak on behalf of the dairy one because we was just here this afternoon, if you're watching. They tried to pick 8 of the heifers that were similar in size. Now, you're going to see in a little bit, they got Holstein, Brown Swiss, and a Jersey. If you know anything about jerseys typically smaller. But they're the same age. And so they felt that was the fairest thing to do is pick the same age ones. They didn't want to pick a winter
Stick with a 4-year-old cow.
Yeah, and then maybe a newborn, or as far as newborn, maybe 4 or 5 months old. So they're trying to give them all the same competitive advantage. Most of the species you'll see are market animals you're going to see tonight. What I mean is, like, for example, in the swine portion, they're probably going to be mainly barrows. Now, they might throw a gilt or two in there. With the sheep, they're probably going to pick the wethers with that. With the beef, now the beef, they can mix it up. They could do steers and heifers, but they're going to try to – so and I say all this for a reason. When they're showing these animals, they're showing them as their market animals. And you think, okay, what does that matter? When we talk about the sheep, you're going to learn if you're showing a market sheep, you show it different than you do a breeding sheep. And so that's some of the differences with that. So there's some things to kind of be watching for on that. It looks like they are here. Yeah.
I was going to say they just finished up the horse portion. We've got some of them in here getting ready to do poultry.
Yeah.
Looks like they're over there actually drawing their numbers for the order they're going to go in the ring. So, again, poultry is also a little bit unique, and they're not maybe drawing to pick which one they're going to have. We've only got 2 here out in the cages. They are drawing for the order that they're going to go in tonight.
Now, let's be honest. When you say unique, is that because you're scared of a chicken, Mary?
Well, you know, that's getting a little personal. But, yes, I can safely say that would be the most terrifying thing is handling a chicken. Give me a 1,500-pound steer maybe, but not a chicken.
So you were afraid of a 5 to 7 pound chicken?
Yeah, I was going to say, having done this contest, fully transparent chickens were the hardest for me. I don't know what it is. They scared me a little bit. I conquered that fear a couple times, but have to say that was definitely one of the most intimidating.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, we laugh when we say that. People, just animals in general, people like, well, I can't go up and touch that cow, or I can't touch that pig. I mean, they're you know, because like pigs, they squeal and scream when they're wanting food or something like that. So everybody's intimidated, and so that's just trying to get over fear. So that's what's so unique about this whole thing, this whole experience you're watching tonight, is which student throughout the night. I keep saying student, I apologize. They're 4-H members. Which member is going to be the calmest throughout the night? Because these animals are going to act up. They're going to misbehave. They're not going to do it.
Used to them because they've only. I mean, you might have some crossover, especially if somebody shows beef and starter calf or something.
Yeah.
But there's the potential that you have 8 individuals who have never shown the species other than the one they're representing.
Correct.
Which honestly is very likely. I know we have some crossover, maybe with more cattle than anything, but that's such an intimidating factor when you've never shown that species before.
Right.
You've maybe never even watched someone show that species. If you're here for the show that you're involved in on that day of the fair, you might not be here. If you were showing Dan this morning, you might not have been here Sunday to watch the sheep show.
Right.
So that's interesting for them to navigate.
Well, and just some things that maybe we didn't mention. It doesn't matter your experience in 4-H. Last year, if you were able to watch last year, a first-year beef showman won Premier and representing the beef division on this. And we were just talking about that with Clint before we got on the air, is that the steer pinned her up against the fence. Now, luckily, that young lady, she had worked with cattle. So
that
wouldn't
having
bother.
represented cattle, that was –
yeah.
She handled herself extremely
Correct.
well.
Now, if you would have and I'm just saying, whether it be sheep or pigs or chickens, if they've never touched that steer or a steer before, that could be very intimidating, and I'm sure it is for that first time. So, real quick, I know they're still working. So, you obviously had the fortune of experiencing this. Try to go back. I know it was a few years to your very first time competing. What was what do you feel like before the contest, before the showmanship?
I was going to say, I think going back to that same point, it was not only intimidating because I hadn't shown any of those, but frankly, you are showing it in front of somebody who is very knowledgeable in that. And I mean, the other contestants, like the ones that I always competed with.
We're gonna interrupt here. This is looks like Caitlin Borney's getting ready to start doing her process of the poultry part of it and stuff. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's more nerve-wracking, I think, to show in front of the other contestant who won that species, because you should say maybe the expert in it of that group.
Yeah. Looks like they're going to come over the PA here.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We are going to continue on with Supreme Showmanship. We have each of our premier showmen representing here tonight. And we are going to be starting next with poultry. We have one of our lovely distinguished ambassadors here that's going to be assisting tonight. This is a little bit of a different scene for poultry than what we're used to here at Adams County. So she's just going to keep a hand on the cage on the table just so that it does not slip off the table and make sure that it's stable for our participants as they come through. Again, we have Miss Harper Henney joining us from Steuben County as our lovely judge this evening, and we will go ahead and get started with our first showman for poultry.
Well, I will apologize. I seen Caitlin come out here, and I kind of wondered why she had her sash on. And so, anyway, so she is not part of this. The first one is Allison Gilbert. Her parents are Doug and Katrina Gilbert. So right, go ahead.
I was going to say kind of part of what she's doing, if you can kind of see she's closest there to the camera, their task is to get the chicken out of the cage, present it to the judge, answer any of the questions that she has, then kind of quizzing them on their general knowledge. It might be parts. It might be just kind of general questions about the poultry industry. And then their job is then to place it back in the cage. So that's kind of the very general overview of what they're doing.
So some things, if you can see from the camera, she has her right hand on the legs underneath the breast, okay, of the chicken. And so what she's doing, she holds it with the right hand. And then when you do that, you can actually flip it upside down. If you notice that in the camera, she flipped the chicken upside down and was holding it, and then pointing to a part or the judge for inspection. Some things they're looking for, they're looking at the feathers. You have what's called primary and secondary feathers. You're looking for, because in poultry you want to see as many feathers on it to make it look showy and look nice. That's part of it that they're looking for. Maybe other parts of it. Now she's going to put it back in, and then the goal is for that to do it as calmly and to keep the chicken as calm as possible.
Well, I mean, there is also being judged specifically on there's a right and a wrong way to take the chicken out and put it back in.
Yeah.
So that's also part of what they're looking at. Again, that's a little intimidating if you've never handled a chicken before, let alone it's kind of like an awkward getting it in and out of the cage if you've never done that.
Yeah.
Then to kind of hold on and present it to a judge, definitely a little interesting, but so far they've seemed quite calm. None of the chickens have flown away. So
some of I kind of cheated and did some random facts and looked around on something. So this is some stuff out there. Now, every judge is going to be different, but one of the things is you want to remove it first. You want to put your right hand underneath underneath the breast and hold the two legs. Okay, you want to pull it out head first, and then take your left hand and put them on top, and then you want to kind of crouch it next to your body to kind of keep it calm. Is what you're trying to do.
Kind of keeping it from flapping in your face and getting in the way. And
exactly. And then you're going to go through, we talk about inspection with that. And then when you put it in, you're what they recommended, and like I said, I'm just looking this up when I did, you put it in head first, but then the key is to spin it around so when you release it, the head's facing you and you close the door because you're posing it for that judge. And so they want to see that on there.
And I know, one of the years that I competed, one of the judges' questions was asking about what is bumblefoot. I clearly totally missed the question, so it's the reason I remember it so well. But
did you stutter when you walked in or something like that? Like step over yourself?
Yeah.
No.
I discovered the bumblefoot is a trivia question that the judge had found of a disease that might be common in chickens, and so Clearly, I totally missed that one. But that's just maybe another example of something she might ask if it's parts, something common knowledge about poultry, you name it.
So do you remember in your studies, here we have Cooper steel in here right now. What's the color, the pigmentation, the color on the legs? Do you remember what that represented?
I was going to say, isn't it the or like the amount of egg production?
Yes, yeah.
The more yellow they are, the less eggs they're producing. And
correct.
Essentially, the more white or colorless that they are, the higher the egg production. Because the color is going into the yolk of the eggs.
For the layers, correct.
Okay.
For the layers are doing that. And then obviously, we didn't talk about that, but you have in poultry, you have layers. Means the females, their whole purpose is to lay eggs. With that, just some random trivia facts. It usually takes anywhere from 21 to 23 hours to produce an egg, and so so sometimes they'll produce an egg every day, sometimes every other day, and stuff like that. But so typically, if you can get 300 eggs in a year, you're pretty happy with your layers on how they're doing with that. So
I think you and Mom should build a chicken coop and get something out there for you.
Yeah, well, we're
nice little hobby. I was going to say, I'm out of the house now, so you can take up another hobby of raising chickens in the backyard.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's not a no.
I think we'd rather go support other students and purchase their eggs from them.
Okay,
and
there
do
you
that. Okay, we have Alyssa Fricky walking in now, getting ready to do her portion of it. So. Some other things, we talked about head and parts and stuff like that. Like they looking at the comb, they looking at the nostrils. Do you remember about the wattle? What's the
anything particular you mean, or just where it's at?
Where it's at.
Kind of on their neck?
Yeah, it's kind of underneath their throat, neck area. Yep, their wattle. And then hackles. Hackles are part of the kind of like their. I want to say it, not hat, but like their feathers on top of their neck. Looking at that. Of course, the breast is the meat, and get that. I'm just and by the way, I am cheating by looking at this as I ask Mary.
I was going to say he's got his educational resources here at his disposal.
Any good teacher has their notes in front of them.
I was going to say this has really made the teacher and you kind of come out.
So, do you remember when you're looking at the color of the eyes and the earlobes itself? What did that represent on some of them?
I was going to say, is that, I don't know if that's tied to egg production as well.
It is. Like, for example, some people say, well, a white chicken egg comes from a white bird. No. And so
it's
you
like saying chocolate milk comes from a brown cow.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. We like to think that, but no, it doesn't. But so yeah, it comes in ties with that. Now we're not going to lie. We are not the experts on poultry production, but we're going to do our best to give you information.
I was going to say clearly, I'm not an expert in chickens by any means.
You hopefully you know what a female chicken.
A hen?
Yeah. And then
I was going to say I got my first trivia question of the night right.
Yeah.
We'll see how many I get wrong throughout the night.
That's all right. So there's some questions like that you might see on that.
Looks like I think we've had 3 or 4 so far. We've got one more coming in.
I'm going to apologize. I am not sure who this is. We were hoping to see a list, but we haven't got that list yet of names in, so I do apologize on that.
Looks like this is number 5, I think, of 8. So we've got a couple more.
Well, she's the 5th one. I don't know if she was the 5th student that competed, but her back tag number is 5. Is that what you mean?
No, I think she's the 5th one to come in so far.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
But yeah, I was going to say I'm not sure on her name yet.
Okay. So some other things that, if you're, say you're looking to get into showmanship, know your breeds. Look into your breeds and get to know the different major breeds with that. When we talk about parts, and then Mary mentioned about the diseases. Know what kind of disease is going around. For example, if you have been watching or paying attention to news the last couple of years, you probably heard of the avian flu or the bird flu. That was a very big deal last couple of years, especially in our county. Adams County, if you didn't know, is number 1 or was number 1. I think it might still be number 1 in duck production. And so we raise a lot of ducks and poultry in this community. Turkeys is another one that we have a lot. This is Xavier Palacios. Xavier is a 10-year member, so it's going to be his last chance at this. And so I think Xavier has competed in this competition a couple times already, so it looks like he's fairly comfortable. Some other things we talked about, they're obviously not going to do it today, but you can look at the egg production and study, grade the eggs, like, know that. And then obviously preparing your animal. Just like every species had to go through and prep your animal, the poultry the same way. They got to wash them, take care of them. We said this the other night on the starter calf. This is not a project or something you could just pick up last week. You had to have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say he's done this for, I think, as far as I know, he's been 10 years in the poultry project.
Yes.
And so he's pretty comfortable with that. I think has raised quite a few and clearly handles that pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't let the cat out of the bag on that one. He is representing the poultry industry. We know that one on there. So some other things that maybe, like I said, we don't do in our county, but some counties do what's called small animal showmanship. Meaning
I was going to say, we mentioned every county is different. They're also very different in the species that they're competing with in the contest. So these are the 8 that our county's chosen to compete with. But I mean, other counties have everything from llamas as a whole division to, like you said, like small animals of rabbits. I mean, all sorts of things.
Right. So, they could be dogs, cats, rabbits. Poultry is unique. We have Addie Jordan right now. I'm out here. And so poultry is unique in that not every county does poultry. And so our county does, and so that's on there.
And some counties don't even bring like chickens to the fair.
Correct.
They might have that as just a fully separate. So I think that's another reason it's so involved in our Supreme here is that we actually have the birds here on site during fair.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that's more of a safety. We talked about that because of the safety aspect of it, because of the bird flu. I do remember a couple years ago, they actually brung the poultry in like a week ahead of time. And they judged them, and then they sent them home that day. And again, that was for protection of not only the birds, but for the students and the public, because throughout the whole week, the public's touching these animals and stuff like that. And so we just don't want to take any chances, with that. So that's some things that kudos to the 4-H. They're trying to protect everybody around and make sure that no one gets sick and leaves and being sick, because you would not want to come to the fair and then go home and get sick and then have a bad experience. And so
I was going to say they value that a lot, so they've done everything possible to make it safe for everyone, animals included.
Correct, exactly.
I think we've got, what is it, one?
It looks like Jasper Shuck is out here right now. So we're winding down, and if they're going by the order on here, which
I was going to say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that this is the order.
Yeah,
but I mean, might be.
It might be, but it looks like swine. But we don't hear the pigs squealing yet, but we'll see. But we'll see what's going on here a little bit. But you're just looking up different breeds. There's so many different breeds. If you just get in there and look, what they're used for. Obviously, with anything, some of them have long feathers, short feathers, just different kind of feathers. Some we talked about, they're broilers. Broiler being they're raised mainly for the meat production, and so it's just whatever the purpose is on that. You have some crazy looking ones, I call crazy looking ones, and then some with like poofy hair on top, and it's just kind of neat to see the different breeds and species as far as that. So
I was gonna say, looks like we just got the list. The other member, we didn't know. Her name is Lexi Harvey.
Okay. Good. We're trying to, the best we can, give you some other things real quick. The kind of what we talked about, what they're doing and keeping smooth and examined as far as that, presenting it to the judge. And I haven't been. It's hard to see because the showmen are to us, but they should hold them to their right arm and hold them close to their body, their chest. obviously, I've dealt with rabbits. The more comfortable and calm you can keep them, the less they're going to squirm, fight, flap their wings, and stuff like that. So that's what they're looking for to be able to do with that.
I was going to say, I think we've got one more left for poultry.
No,
that might be it.
Nope.
No, looks like that's
they're it. Right. So the poultry superintendents will come and grab the poultry, and they'll get the cage and the table out of here. And we do appreciate the poultry for providing this, and also the horse, because you provided this to your animals, especially if you're a member and they use your animals. We just say, hey, I see some pigs coming. So I think we're going to look like pigs coming up next. So that's another one that could be interesting at times because we talk about animals and how unique they are. What's something you remember when you showed pigs? What do they like to do once they feel comfortable with that ring?
I was going to say two big things that I think make it interesting. One, these are the animals I guess you have the least control over because they're not on a halter. They're not in a cage. They're not contained in any way. You're walking them fully with a whip. And that also is interesting if you've never kind of used one of those before and you aren't comfortable with it. But the hardest part then is knowing how to use it when you get one who just wants to run to the exit gate. Yeah. So something unique about swine is once they've been in the ring, which, of course, all of these pigs would have shown on Tuesday.
Right.
Once they find the exit gate, their memory of knowing where that gate is incredible. So they tend to beeline for that corner. So there's a chance you're going to see a couple of them who just stick to that gate.
Yep.
And at that point, it then becomes for the showman of how well they're going to handle. Are they going to stay calm? Are they going to do their best to get it out of that corner without causing a scene? And interestingly enough, my very, very first year in 4-H, having never shown pigs, really, it was my first time showing them, and I learned how to use a whip for the first time.
Did you really learn how to use a whip?
Well, I was going to say that first year was definitely a prime example that I didn't know what I was doing. I left some poor welts on that pig because it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do.
And I think if I remember correctly, it was a Duroc, so it was already reddish in color.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea how hard she was hitting it.
I was going to say
but it wasn't trying to beat it, but, it wouldn't cooperate,
It wasn't cooperating.
Yeah.
And I was inexperienced enough to know how to use it.
So let's talk about right now. They got the numbers. When the showman walks to the pens and gets their pig, what should they be doing?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Well, thanks for coming out. I know as much as I enjoy it, these kids enjoy it just as much. Tonight's going to be super fun. We're thankful for the cool weather. At least it's not 110 degrees out here where we're all just miserable. I commend all these kids for even making it out here tonight. And if you guys competed against one of these that are out here, or even against whoever's the lucky winner tonight, just, it's all personal preference at the end of the day. I guess one of those things where you can go back and you can figure out, what did this person do better than me this time, and fix that and be better. I always try to be the person of, let's try to learn something new each day and be better than better than we were yesterday. Sorry, that's kind of a tongue twister. But good luck to all of you guys. I'm excited to be here, and thank you guys for having me.
So,
All right.
okay, go back
So
and...
our showman just completed poultry. And just a reminder for the crowd, only one of our 4-H members out here tonight is actually representing as the premier showman for poultry. All of our 4-H members tonight each represent a different species. That is a secret to the judge, and it is their job as showmen to do the best in each species to earn that title of supreme showman. Currently, we're next on swine. After swine, we move into dairy.
Okay, Mary. So let's go back to when they were in the pen. What are they doing first, or what should they be doing?
I was going to say most of them should kind of be just getting comfortable with that pig. They're probably getting ready to point him to the corner where they're going to exit, so that way when the judge kind of does the little finger wave to pull him out, they don't have to get the pig to turn around and then exit that little pull gate. So they're just kind of prepping and essentially being ready for the second they kind of get the nod from the judge to
so
come on out.
On your camera, they're on your right hand side. They're in the pins. That's 4-H member should be getting the head facing forward towards the gate, and then they probably should have a brush of some sort on them. And they're probably cleaning up, kind of trying to calm that pig down, let the pig get the feel, smell them and stuff like that. And then, as you see right now, looks like Kale's coming out. He's going to lead his animal out. Now, the goal is for that member to shoot the pig. What I mean shoot is aim that pig towards the judge so they can see a front view. That's the goal, okay? So you want to see the front view. Give that first impression. And that's one thing we heard yesterday at the swine show. The judge wants to see the first impression. What does that pig look like? And so then, how do they move it from there? Now, if you're watching them, they're using a whip. And now they're not hitting them. We were joking about Mary with hitting them hard, but they're not hitting them, trying to hurt them. What they're doing is they're trying to keep the nose up and then get them to move forward. So sometimes you'll see them
kind of directing them in a way.
And they'll see them tap them on the back. On that. Now, some things they should be doing is doing what's called a figure 8 in front of the judge, meaning they should make this pattern of a figure 8 where they're constantly in front of the judge. Now, I've heard some judges that when they come out of the gate, they want to see your animal, they want to walk straight forward, and then they want to walk away from it so they can see the rear end of it. And then what they want you to do is be professional and let the other showman show off their pig. And so they would go and kind of go to the side for a few minutes and let the other one
give them the view of yours, and then take a second and let the other showman kind of have that moment of coming out, showing the judge, and then once all of them are out.
That kind of professional courtesy, right. And so, and then now I've also heard other ways where judges, they want to see you the whole time. So it's kind of personal preference and what they're looking for. So anyways, so they're going through and moving them around. And the goal is, like we're showing, like you're seeing right now, it looks like we got them all out here now. So the goal is to keep them in front of the judge at all times.
I was going to say it's kind of demanding the judge's attention without stepping on their toes. You want to be where they are at all times. You want to be the one that catches their eye, the one that's not stuck behind others in the crowd, doesn't disappear into the group, but also isn't walking all over them, stomping them.
Looks like we got some Burks, some spots, and some crosses. You got
a Duroc in there.
You got a Duroc out there. You want to go practice again?
Looks like another crossbred or something over there.
Yeah, there's a couple crosses, some spots, and some Durocs. And again, we just can't thank enough for the volunteers and the members that let us use their animal for this, because not everybody wants to, because they don't want their animal to they just don't want to get their animal out. So so we appreciate that.
They've entrusted a lot of these members with the use of theirs, because we talked about it in a lot of the other shows. The members build such a bond with their animals that they might be protective of. No, those are my animals.
Yeah.
And, but the good thing is that these members have been very gracious in letting them be used for another purpose and trusting somebody else to show them.
Exactly. I do see a few gilts out here, but the rest of them are barrows. And the only reason I say that is for pigs, you're not going to show them different, meaning you're not going to show your breeding stock different than you would for your market. With that. Okay, so market weight. Do you remember what the market weight of a pig is?
It's got to be under 300.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Typically, they say 265 to 290 most of the time.
I was going to say, no, at least weight limit here at the county fair is 300, so it had to be somewhere under there.
Right. They, and every county is going to be different and stuff like that. Most of these pigs are going to be, around 250, 260. If they're going to be competitive, let's say at a state show, like in a couple weeks, they might be a little under. They might be 240, maybe 230.
Kind of saving their weight for next week.
Yeah, they're saving them for the state fair with that. Now,
that might be another reason too, if members are showing their pigs at state fair.
Yeah.
They might just want to kind of keep them back a little bit. So there's maybe a good chance too that some of these pigs are going to be ones getting shown and run through the auction tomorrow.
So you notice she's walking towards the camera. She's got her back towards the students. She just wants to see who's going to get there fast. And so your job is to hurry up and push that pig in front of that judge so she can see it. Because, again, you are trying to show off your animal to that judge without on there. So you see a couple of them made it up there already, and now they're trying to – the trick is to turn them and get them to spin that pig around and not get behind it too much with that. So it looks like they're going there. I
was going to say it's a lot of, like you said, we talked about earlier, demanding the attention of the judge. So when she turns and she's facing the outside corner, she's going to see who gets in her eye line or like sight in that small area between her and the fence, and that's kind of where she's directing all of them to go.
And if you notice a couple of them, you can see we recognize some of them are swine. They're kind of crouched down, and that way they're not standing straight up. They might have the whip in the right hand, but then the left hand, sometimes they have them right on the side of the pig. Sometimes they have it towards their back, like they're holding it in their back. With that, again, that's a personal preference of a judge. I've seen some judges says, "Don't you dare touch that pig with your offhand," and
sometimes they touch their brush to it or something.
Yeah, or sometimes they tap it to get it to move. Maybe the pig's walking a little slow with that. Mm-hmm. The pigs are actually pretty calm tonight.
I was going to say, and a big reason too that they might be crouching, the showman at least. Is because it kind of helps you just blend in a little better with your animal. You look a little more like a partner, like a team.
Correct.
You're not kind of standing awkwardly and reaching as far as you can to guide them.
Yep.
When you're crouched a little bit, I mean, it might hurt your back after a couple minutes, but it just kind of blends you a little bit together like you're working as a team.
Yeah, that stamina of on that.
Makes your legs burn a little. Speaking from experience, when you're crouching for a 6-7 minute class.
Especially the tall members, they have to crouch more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you see it on camera, and the judge obviously didn't, which is good. One student was taking his hand and taking that nose and that face and trying to move it.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously something you don't want to do. And the judge see that, but he was trying to get away from the pen, the gate, and so we get that.
I was going to say, you've got some that looks like, unfortunately, they're targeting that. You can tell which gate's the exit.
Yep, they're
even
starting.
If you didn't watch the swine show.
Yep, they're figuring that out already. So now they're like, hey.
It takes them a few minutes to recognize that they're back in the same spot.
Yeah. Again, the goal is to try to keep that nose up and get it walking calmly. And so far, they're really doing a good job. I'm impressed. It's just too bad a couple of them are wanting to find that gate, and that makes it frustrating. And that's what these members got to do, is do it in a way, not show their frustration, because like we said, there is no way you're going to have the perfect animal at every time.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of, too, we mentioned, I mean, it's just handling the adversity of being given an animal that you've never worked with before, that you have no interaction with and aren't comfortable showing even that species. And then when it starts to act up a little different, you're already a little on high alert because it's something incredibly new. And then you have an animal that isn't cooperating maybe as you expect, or as you've been told, you walk it this way, this is how you do it. When it doesn't happen in that exact way, it's kind of interesting to navigate.
I was just curious, and it looks like the judge has already done her placings, and that's fine. Sometimes they like to see him put him in. Like I said, every judge, they like to see him put him in the pen, and then they pull him back out. So
back
again,
in essentially the gates they came from.
Yeah, and again, not that anything was different. We're not saying the judge. We're not saying that. We're just saying every judge is different. It's their personal preference. So again, thank you for all the volunteers that allowed us to use your pigs. We appreciate that. It's awesome.
I was just kind of see what looks like we've got maybe some dairy cows lined up here to head in next. So it looks like this is going to be our order here. We've already done, in case you weren't sure, we've already done horse and pony. We've already done poultry, and they just finished swine here. So we're going to be getting ready. The kids are going to pull their numbers for the dairy cows that they're going to be showing here next. And looks like they might be taking a little bit of a water break and stuff.
So the pigs at the end, obviously, I made a bad mistake and walked to the end gate. Didn't realize that was the end gate. I should have known better. So I didn't pen them back. I know that's how we're supposed to do it, but you can tell when they come out. But all of these exhibitors did an awesome job. I love the intensity. I love the aggression. I love the passion they all have. With Showman, I've grown up and raised where it's competitive and intense. So a little intensity goes a long way for me. So that's very exciting.
Awesome. Well, we just had a few words there from the judge on maybe what she was looking for in swine. And we also have another guest appearance with us. Here on the webcast, we have a former Supreme Showmanship winner, Miss Lindsay Bloom. Welcome to the Berne Witness.
All right.
Thank you,
Our
Mary.
showmen are doing a great job tonight. And we just completed swine. We're now on to dairy. So our showmen, once again, just a reminder, each time that they switch species, they are selecting a random number. So our showmen don't get the same number animal every time. Each time they draw a new one to get a completely random animal that's been selected. So each time they draw a new number, then immediately go to that animal and then begin preparing to exhibit that animal. On to dairy. After dairy, we will have sheep.
So yeah, we got a little bit more insight there on kind of how the contest works. But now that we've got Miss Lindsay here with us, talk to me a little bit about your experience. You obviously know the Supreme Contest very well, but what makes this unique? It's obviously a quite the experience.
So the way that this makes it very unique is that these contestants don't know what animals they're showing. They don't know whose they're showing. They don't know how this animal's going to act. You know, some of them got picked this morning or this afternoon, maybe like 1 o'clock. So they really haven't had much time to prepare. Then you have others that got picked, you know, Sunday afternoon. So they've had time to prepare. They've had time to go watch shows. So if you weren't expecting to be on, you really probably weren't paying attention very much. Yeah. So animals, you know, they're all different. They can act different. We have cooled off a lot this week. Right now it's a nice, cool, comfortable, maybe 72 degrees like they are in the Coliseum in Indianapolis. So these animals might be a little jumpy. We'll find out. I mean, the dairy were in here earlier. They were calm, cool, collected, but we'll see how the beef act.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to be very interested to see how the cattle act when they come in here tonight. But I guess kind of touching on the point that you mentioned that they may have prepared a little bit in terms of the textbook way of how you show an animal, but when it comes to being in the ring, the animal's acting up maybe a little bit. They're not comfortable with that. We were just kind of talking, they're already on high alert, doing something incredibly new to them. Then you get an animal that's maybe not cooperating, and that's a stressful spot to be in.
It is stressful. I remember back whenever I showed, I had a pig. Something happened to it, and it did not want to drive. So I don't know. Did you guys explain kind of what you guys were doing in pigs?
We did a little bit, but you can maybe add a little more insight to that.
So driving your pig means you're trying to give the judge as many looks as possible within a certain window, making sure that pig is on its A game. My pig did not want to do that. My pig wanted to go to that exit gate.
game.
Yes, it wanted to go to that exit gate that all those other pigs just went to. So trying to get that pig, you have to have patience. You have to have persistence. Trying to get that animal to go back to do what you want it to do. But yeah, it's these showmen have to have patience. They have to know how the animal reads. I mean, they're showing animals that they've never worked with.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's also a huge part of being unique is that they're drawing, so they especially have no idea really what they're going to get handed. They might be lucky in kind of picking one that is in the lineup that's an extremely just calm and collected animal to begin with. You might get one that's got a few ants in their pants and just wants to jump.
You never know what is going to happen.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe you can talk about your experience. Anything stick out to you as maybe you're watching some of these 4-H'ers show that pops in your brain of maybe a memory or something when you were involved in the contest?
You know, one thing that always sticks out, sometimes they still come up and ask me, you know, it's been about a decade since I've been in the ring for this, but you know, they always ask me, what do I need to do? I said, there are 2 or 3 questions you ask every person when you get an animal. What is it? What is the birthday or weight? You know, this is a market show, but as for the dairy that's in the ring right now, you want to know that birthday. You want to know the weight. You know, when you get to the cattle, the beef, you want to know if there's a breed associated with that. You also, you know, is there any key things I need to know? Is this animal like to be held a certain way? Does this animal respond to the show stick a certain way? You know, just try to get yourself a few pointers, maybe a few helpful hints, just so that way the animal, you know, doesn't try to jump away from you.
Yeah, I was going to say we've touched on a little bit that they have to draw and then they're assigned, but you can't quite see that in the camera. But here at the entrance gate, all of the owners of these animals are standing in a line in that order, 1 to 8. And the member then kind of walks up to the one that is assigned to them, and they get to talk one-on-one with the owner of that animal. I think that's a really valuable time that they all should be kind of taking advantage of.
Yeah, it is something they need to take advantage of. That gives you a big idea about how this animal will respond. for something you have never worked with.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say the owners know these animals the best.
Yes.
So whenever they have a few minutes while they're waiting, that's like prime time to be able to ask questions, get all of the insight and the lowdown on the one that they're going to be pulling in the ring. I'll be interested to see, and sometimes they do this with dairy, and that's the reason I mention it now. They will have the showman switch animals. Do you maybe want to talk about what I mean when I say that and kind of what that looks like?
Yeah, no problem. So switching your animal means more than likely there is no ring help in here, so the judge might go grab an animal, and they're going to tell that showman to go to a different animal. What that showman, hint, hint for anybody listening, what you should be doing is going around that animal looking to see if there is a flaw you see, fixing it before taking control of the animal. And then, doing that, fixing the animal, and then continue looking at the judge.
Yeah, I was going to say, so essentially they may all be holding a cow right now, and then the judge is going to switch them up, so they will then get switched to an entirely different cow for the rest of their time in the ring. So they just spend a little time getting comfortable with one, and there's a chance that she'll kind of throw them off to their game, put them with a new one, and see how they respond.
Yes.
That's, I think, a big part of it, too. We've talked about composure. That's probably going to be the thing that we talk about over and over and over again tonight. And that seems to be something that she's probably going to be looking for.
Definitely. She's definitely looking for those that can keep their composure, remain calm, and also the most important thing, and you know this too, is to have fun out there. You never know when it will be your last time in the show ring competing at this level.
Yeah, I was going to say it's something that each of these kids have earned, and just because they maybe earned it this year, we've only got one 10-year member in the ring right now, or competing. Or no, we've got one or two 10-year members, but the rest of them will all potentially be returning, but that also doesn't mean that they automatically get that spot for next year. They have to come back, learn, and win it from their own species to requalify.
Correct.
So that's important to note, too, that they earned it this year, but it's not always promised. Like you said, they might not get this opportunity again.
Yes, definitely. Don't take it for granted. Sometimes, you get in there when you're a fifth-year 4-H'er, ending middle school, beginning high school, try to get back in, and it never happens. It's happened so many times.
If you could maybe give a piece of advice, I know the showman here can't hear you, but there's a lot of maybe showmen that could be here in the future that might be listening, some viewers at home and families at home. What piece of advice would you give to anybody who wants to compete in this contest, or maybe they make it there and they want to know some information?
So definitely my piece of advice is work with your animals at home. Showmanship starts at home. It doesn't start when the showmanship class happens. The day of the show, showmanship starts the first class you enter the ring in. Whether that's your mini 4-H and you're being the ambassador for the youth, showing them around how to do their project, or whether it's the first class you enter, whether it's class 1, class 10, class 20, you never know. But showmanship starts at home, and then it continues on at the show, at the beginning, before the showmanship classes. Work hard with your animals. You've got to put in the time, and the judges can see those who put in the time and those who don't.
Yeah, because it's, I don't know, we said kind of just composure too, but when you've spent that much time preparing with your own animals, you can kind of handle just about anything. So nothing seems to rattle those showmen who have spent that much time preparing.
It's always great when your animal is the one that messes up, and it's not at the county fair, so you know how to handle and how to handle those difficult animals.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, I think attending like open shows, especially when I spent a lot of time showing sheep, those open shows were key to like getting the jitters out. And so a big part of that too, maybe you can't go to an open show, but practicing that much at home with your own animal gets a lot of those jitters out before you step in the show ring.
And even the open shows in general, there's more and more of them in our area. I mean,
very accessible.
Very accessible. I mean, we have a dairy beef open show in June in Adams County. So we have plenty
and I was
going to
say, and talking with your sister, I know you guys kind of help organize and run some of that, but she said that there were more Adams County 4-H'ers who competed in that this year than before, which is awesome.
That is correct. We had a record number of Adams County 4-H'ers. Not everybody, but this is the most in the 3 or 4 years we've had the show running.
So clearly, I mean, it's in their back door, and more of the Adams County 4-H'ers are taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yes.
Which is exciting that them and their families are taking advantage of that opportunity and using it as an opportunity to learn for county fair.
Yes, definitely. The more time you can get in the ring, the more experience you can get, the better it should go.
Yeah, I was going to say, there you go. That's some high-quality wisdom from not only a former 4-H'er, somebody who's involved here at the fair heavily, but also a former Supreme Showmanship winner. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing some of your vast knowledge and wisdom on the contest with us.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Okay, well, thank you again, Lindsay, for spending some time and sharing with us. So, Mary, let's talk about the dairy industry, or dairy showmanship, I should say. They obviously did the show this morning, and Kale Beer was is the representative for the dairy industry. So, what are some things they're looking for? What are the judges looking for the students to be doing?
Yeah, I think specifically with dairy, a lot of it has to do with the way that they're walking the calves. I think they like to walk them nice and slow. You'll see most of the showmen are kind of walking backwards so they can walk a little slower and lead them just right. And that's kind of a very unique style, I would say, to dairy, because you get maybe some of the beef or you get some steers and starter calves in there. You're yanking on the chain and walking with a show stick. I would say, in layman's terms, dairy's a little more prim and proper.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of they walk them slow. They get them set just right. And then the judge is kind of focusing. For heifers here, they're going to have to place the feet a certain way. They're going to be staggered a little bit. If these were milk cows, they'd want to stagger the feet in a way that shows off the udder.
Correct.
But with these being heifers, those are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
They're going to stagger those feet.
And I don't know how well you can see on the camera. Some of the students, they have their left hand holding the holder, the lead holder, and then their right hand, they're grabbing them by their throat and they're pulling up the excess skin. So again, with dairy animals,
makes them look snatched.
yeah, and with dairy animals, you want them to be clean. Like when we talk about clean, like dairiness of dairy string, you want them to be clean, not a lot of fat on them. So when you're pulling up that skin, you're making that throat look like they're clean.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our showmen some encouragement tonight. They're doing a great job. You are looking at the best of the best when it comes to Adams County 4-H livestock showmen. Something that's so interesting also about Supreme Showmanship is that some of these kids, maybe they have shown these animals before. Maybe it's been in the past. Maybe they've never shown them. Maybe this is the current species they show, but this is not any of their own animals. None of the animals that they're showing tonight do any of these showmen own. So this is a brand new animal that they're all working with, possibly a brand new species they're all working with as well. So I think that's a true testament to the hours that they put in and the dedication they put into trying to learn these different techniques in order to become the supreme showman of the night. We're still going with dairy currently, but just so our other species can be on deck for what comes next. As a reminder, after dairy, sheep is up next. After sheep will be beef.
Okay, so yeah, the judge is finishing up some things with this, and I think we were talking about, like we said, you want to keep them with dairy cattle. A lot of people, I get questions asked a lot. Why?
I was just gonna say, probably the question you're leading into. Sorry to interrupt you, but some people have always asked me, why do dairy cows look anorexic?
Yeah.
But they're not.
Correct.
That's not the case actually at all. So maybe you can.
No,
to that
yeah,
point.
go ahead. No, you stole my point, and that's fine. You want to see, like, you look down the top line, you want to see that nice, smooth. I term it as like a tent. Their top line, the smooth, cleanliness, sharp. Some terms you look. I heard the term today, razor thin. And then you look down the ribs, and you want to see you do want to see the ribs showing, and with that. Now, these are some heifers. They're getting up in age. They're going to put on some flesh because they're going to be probably going to be pretty soon they're going to go through the process of becoming a mother. They're going to be bred, and so they're going to put on some weight, and that's typical when the older they get. But anyways, you want to see that cleanliness over their what's called their hooks and their pins and their tail. We want to see that cleanliness in their head and their throat. Mary had mentioned dairy cows. They are prim and proper. I mean, they're going to hold their head up high. You want them to hold their head up high and almost like strutting their stuff.
I was going to say
like a model.
When they're setting them up, it's almost more like they're posing them.
Yep.
That's a big part of dairy. They always kind of want to look very set, very clean, which we mentioned more of their like condition, but also a lot of like their style and appearance and the swagger that they walk in the ring with.
Some other things, and I know, this is not what she's necessarily judging them on with that. So, you want to see, whether we talk about the ribs and their we call the belly the ribs, you want to see that depth and stuff. And so, because remember, this heifer is going to hold a calf. And if you remember from the starter calf show, we talked about they're going to weigh anywhere from 60 to 100 pounds when they're born. Well, this heifer is going to carry around a calf in its body, sometimes twins, and we've even had triplets and quads, but they're going to carry that around. And so they need to be able to breathe and be healthy, so that the deeper they are in their chest, the more success they're going to have with that. Feet and legs. You look at their feet and legs, how they're walking. These animals could be on concrete, they could be whatever. They got to be able to walk and be healthy and eat. And so that's some things. Now, like I said, she's not jumping out tonight. We're just talking in general. Looks like she's going around and placing them and kind of get an idea in her head. Again, how are the students posing them? Some things like that. So it looks like she's finishing up.
I was going to say another key thing that maybe I'm just noticing, because the dairy judge talked about this today when he was doing showmanship, which is why I mention it. Spacing is going to be really huge for these guys, not just in dairy, but they kind of want to command the space that they're in.
Yep.
So they don't want to get stuck in the corner.
Yep.
They don't want to get jammed in between two other showmen and their calves. They kind of want to be, I say, front and center, while also being fully in line with the circle and where the judge has them. So they want to give themselves plenty of space while not making large gaps in the group.
Right, and so, they should be keeping them close to the one in front of them unless the judge told them to stop. But you want to keep your heifer close to the one in front of you, but you always want to stop ahead of time, so that way when it does act up and move, you can actually move on there. Some other things that, that to keep in mind when they're moving these cattle, don't turn them on a dime. Let them make a big circle. You want them to be comfortable. You want them to be able to turn comfortably and not, you don't want them to step on your toes. Because they're going to obviously not feel too good. So that's some things you're looking for on there. Looks like we have out here, like we mentioned, we got some brown Swiss that closest to the camera. Looks like the Holstein's getting ready to pull in with that, and then the two jerseys in the back with that. So pretty similar in size, believe it or not. So it's kind of cool that they're similar in their size, because it's a fair advantage for all the students that are showing here with that. It's pretty cool that we have 8 heifers to be able to do this, because I know some other kind of fairs, they only had 2 or 3 heifers. And so what they did was they rotated out the heifers and the students. So what I mean is, like, they had the 3 heifers come in with the 3 students, then the students and the heifers left, and then the other 3 students come in, bring them the same heifers back in. So you see that. Now you say, well, why are we not judging actual cows, the milk cows? Well, they've already went home, because they need to be milked, and so they took them home. So that's why they keep the heifers here on that.
Well, and I think the heifers, especially more so for tonight, the heifers are a little more beginner-friendly in kind of how you're showing them. So it's still enough for whoever won from the dairy species to show off their knowledge and experience in it. But it's also not another hurdle to tackle for those who are new to showing it and maybe have never shown dairy before.
So just picking your brains as you're watching, maybe you notice we talked about the horse and pony. Lexi Harvey was representing the horse and pony. Again, the judge doesn't know this right now, and so we're sharing this because the judge won't know this. Representing the poultry, I think we mentioned that, is Xavier Palacios. And the swine, which we already did, was Addie Jordan. And then the dairy, the ones in right here, is Kale Beer. So like, for example, Kale just found out this morning at 1 o'clock that he's representing dairy. Now, good thing for Kale, he's done this before. He was in this competition
I was going to say, I think we've got a couple in this group who have competed before. So it'll be very interesting to see if that experience makes a difference. I'll be honest, there's a chance that them having competed before might not be the reason. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to win because they've had experience. It's all about who shows the best tonight and shows the most composure. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of lays out. We've got pretty much some brand new people to it, and then a couple who might have experience.
There's 6 of them that I know have done it before, and one of them is actually won. And we could talk about that at Special at Adams County. One of them is actually a return champion, means in their 4-H career they've won the showmanship.
I was going to say,
I know one of them for sure is new, and my brain's not thinking on Gilbert. I know her siblings have, and I can't remember if she.
I was going to say, I know her older sister has competed in this before.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Looking through here, how many siblings of these out here have competed and their friends and stuff like that. What's cool about the 4-H? We've been talking about the family atmosphere. Some of these kids, they have been working with other people, like. Some of the experiences you had when you that first year you made it to Supreme. What do you have happen to you with other 4-H members?
I was going to say, pretty much the second I stepped out of the ring, having won the first year I won for sheep showmanship, and I was able to represent then. And I was like a 5th grader and terrified and didn't really know what I got myself into. And I had countless older 4-Hers walk up to me or their parents or something and say, "Hey, we want to help you. We'll prep you. You can come work with our horse today." Another one walked up and said, "You know what? Hey, I've got pigs. I will do everything I can to help teach you." So later that night, right after I'd finished my show, I walked over and he taught me how to walk pigs up and down the aisle and taught me what pig showmanship would look like.
Yeah.
And
so how'd that work for your first year with that Duroc?
I was going to say, clearly I needed a little more practice with the pigs. Was no reflection of my teacher on that one. But I think he was a little maybe horrified at what I did. But I'll say it's incredible to see the other members, especially ones who may not have made it into the Supreme contest, still support those who did and want to be helpful to them.
All right, we are dismissing our dairy class at this time. Up next, we have sheep, and following sheep is beef, then goats.
So we're going to let you in a little bit. You could talk about sheep since that's your forte. But as they're leaving here, and they mentioned that's what I was thinking. Sorry. That was interesting to watch. I remember walking around yesterday and today when the shows weren't going on. How many of these kids, like I know the Harvey girl, I seen her working with other animals from other of her friends, and they were teaching her and coaching her. And that's what's cool about this experience is they're showing them some tips and things they've learned and stuff like that.
Well, and I know this morning I witnessed 2 of these contestants helping each other with their species. Specifically this morning, walking 2 of them. They're out here tonight competing against each other.
Hey, guys, let's give everyone a round of applause. I feel like we haven't done that yet today. Everybody's been doing a great job. For the dairy, I was really looking at feet placement for the heifers. The feet placement, if I'm on one side or the other. I was looking for if your animal messed up, it's okay. Just get her fixed on what side I'm on. And I'm looking for still that intense, aggressive show ring look, show ring appearance that catches my eye every time. So let's keep on the good show. I think it's a very close race. I couldn't tell you who's winning right now. So let's give everybody one more round of applause.
So that was just a few comments here from our judge on some of the things that she's looking for, things that she spotted, and then also maybe a few hints on what she's looking for going forward, too, from them. She's mentioned at least 2 or 3 times now the intensity. I think part of what that is the eye contact with her. Yeah. It's the awareness of where she's at in the ring at all times, and also being extremely focused and aware of your surroundings, your animal, where she's at, and what she's looking for.
Okay, so talk to us. They're bringing the sheep in. What should they be doing, or how should they be handling this right now?
Yeah, I was going to say, sheep are also extremely interesting, especially because they will have no halters on them, so they're fully leading them
We are
by
now
hand.
on to our sheep class. Following sheep is beef, then goats, and last starter calf.
So yeah, the students are trying to walk him in right now. They only
Mhm.
have two hands on their underneath their jaw on the left hand, and then the one on the right. Trying to get him to walk. It's not easy, is it?
No, I was going to say, especially some of them, you might get some jumpy sheep who walk their owners or their showmen, walk them in a very specific way,
Mhm.
depending on how the showman likes to work or maybe how the lamb's comfortable.
Yep.
And so it's going to be very interesting to kind of see maybe how some of them are handled, but they're not only going to their walk, then they're going to stop them, they're going to set them up, and they don't use a show stick, they don't use their foot, they use their hands. So you'll see here at the front, you can see really well on the camera, you've got Cale Bayer here on the end. He's reaching around, trying to set those legs square.
Yeah.
And so,
And so if you notice his left leg, you want to keep it in front of the lamb, so
Keeps
it
him from
stops
moving
it.
forward.
Yeah, stops it, and then like everything, keep the animal. Oh, we got a loose one, and so you want to keep the animal in front of you at all times, or excuse me, in front of the judge at all times, and not get between you and the animal and the judge. So that's what you want to work on there. So
yeah. Well, and I have to say, too, I mean, we've got this one loose here, but this isn't like a rare occasion. This happens with
all the time.
People who show sheep.
Even during the
fully
sheep show. Even
for
during
their
the
own.
even during the sheep show, this happens all the time. We're talking 7-8 year sheep showers.
Mhm.
This happens.
They're
So
they're a hard
Yeah.
species to wrangle when you're not
Right.
used to them.
Yeah.
I would say even, like we said, people who are comfortable in show and own lambs, it's just sometimes hard. They get to jump. They're fully in your hands and in your control.
Yeah, and I mean, we can sit and watch and stuff like that. But now, how will this member? How will they handle that adversity? And
Mhm.
that's what this judge is going to look for. How are you going to handle that? To be relaxed, to calm down. Accidents and things happen, and this animal they're not used to you, so this animal's not used to. So that's what the judge wants to see with that. So right now the judge is feeling them. They're going down the top and feeling, and then feeling the in the back and checking the muscles. So that member needs to be pushing and bracing on that lamb, so to be able to tell the conditioning, the fat of their lamb.
Yeah. Well, and they've got them kind of all lined up here, and so you'll see they're going to be like rotating around, as we mentioned, making sure the sheep's in between them and the judge.
Yep.
And we say that a lot because, as we mentioned a few times, the showman's job, no matter the species, is to show off their animal to the judge to the best of their ability, to show the animal's strengths, to essentially hide their weaknesses. If you know that maybe your lamb has a little dip through his loin and he's kind of just weak along that top line, you're not going to spread his legs nearly as far apart. You're going to set him a little closer to show off the strength and maybe hide a weakness of that. And that's part of being a good showman.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you got it on the camera. The judge was feeling it, and then she actually moved the rear. And so she wants to see how the students, what they're going to do and how they're going to handle that with that. And so it's probably intimidating. They're like, what in the world's going on? See, she just brushed it to the side. So how is that student going to fix them legs? How are they going to do that? It's easier said than done. Like you can sit on the camera, you can sit on sidelines. Oh, that's easy to do. No, it's not. You got to try to hold your composure. Take your hand, reach over the body, and grab that hind leg and set it.
What I was going to say, you can see, especially, this is another one that's very hard if you're short or you don't have long arms. If you're trying to
You mean
hold,
you're saying you're short?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was going to say holding the head and keeping a great handle on that so the sheep doesn't run away from you, doesn't move forward.
Yeah.
You're going to have to move the leg that's blocking him from moving forward to then be able to reach those back ones and set them square. And when you're short or you've got a big lamb, either one, and you can't reach, you kind of have to figure out what's the way that I can do that without letting my lamb go.
Not to interrupt, but now she's walking in the front. So again, the judge wants to see that front end, and so you want to try to get yourself to the side to be able to do that. With that, some of these, Mary, you've obviously did 10 years of sheep showmanship. Was there some lambs that just would not cooperate no matter how much you work with them?
Oh yeah, I had one that, I mean, I'll never forget, our family's talked about this for years, gave me one of the worst nosebleeds I've ever gotten in my life as I was walking in the show ring. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Walking in the ring,
Yeah.
it jumped, nailed me in the face. I continued to walk in the ring, dripping blood down its back from
Yeah.
the nosebleed that I couldn't get to stop.
Yeah.
And some of them, they're just stubborn.
Yeah.
They're pieces of work. I have heard more people say there's a reason that the Bible references us as sheep so often because of how stubborn and uncontrollable they are sometimes. So it's kind of funny that the Bible uses that illustration
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. So, I mean, kudos to these kids. I mean, seriously, they're showing these animals, these sheep. I'm looking out here. Obviously, representing the sheep is Jasper Shuck, but I would say these other ones, I don't know what the experience that they've had with these sheep before, even before today or before even this week with that. Because I'm looking through here, you got some friends that maybe have sheep, but what did they really go through in practice? I don't know. And it still doesn't matter. These sheep, they're scared. They're intimidated because there's somebody foreign touching them. They're like, what is going on? Who is this person? It could be a smell. It could be their height. I remember you had some sheep that, if you don't know, Mary's a little shorter than most people. So they did well with her being short. But the minute a tall person got on it, it acted up, or vice versa. And so
I think a lot of, especially my bigger ewes, with how tall I was able to squat. I was like right in their face, or how short I was.
Yeah,
you're like right in their face, and then you get somebody any taller than that, and they kind of just freak out. It's not only the new environment, but a new feel. They know it's comfortable, and they know what they've been practiced with this whole time.
Yeah. So she's pulling them out one by one. Like, so they were on the profile, so she's pulling them out one by one. She wants to see them. Again, she's just trying to see them pull them out as many times. And
efficiency. Well, you want to see the ones who set the legs correctly and the quickest.
Quickest, correct.
You can be quick and not correct, and you can be correct and not quick.
So now she's coming around. She's going to feel again just trying to see how the kids react and what they do. How do they handle that situation? So.
I was going to say, so far I've been really impressed with the composure. I mean, I might be biased because I understand them so well, but I think sheep are one of the hardest ones of these species. Personally, I guess that's my opinion. I think it's one of the hardest to learn when you're the most uncomfortable with it or you haven't done it. And so
I thought you said you were scared of chickens.
Well, there's a difference between being scared and very uncomfortable with a new species.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get over maybe the fear of chickens, but
yeah, no, you're exactly right. It is because you have anywhere from 120 to 140 pound lamb in your hands, and you're trying to get them to move. And these lambs are just not one to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
These are all market weathers, and so I was just checking on that. Like I said, you want to show them. Kind of talk to us real quick. I know we're doing market, but if you had a breeding ewe, what would you do different than showmanship?
Sometimes, and this also, I guess, depends on your lamb because some of them won't cooperate enough to let you do that. But you might stand off to the side and kind of squat essentially on the profile and kind of hide yourself behind the sheep. Some people show breeding sheep that way, but it's nice that with them using market weathers all for this, that's not something that these new showmen also have to figure out how to navigate and to do, especially if they've got one who's not comfortable. When you're squatted down kind of to that side, they're a lot more vulnerable to jumping and moving on you.
If you get a chance to go back and watch the archives, Berne Witness, first of all, thank you for Berne Witness and Clinton, what all you guys are doing. But if you want to go back and look at the archives, you could see it. I know Sunday during the sheep show, we seen students, they had one hand, literally one hand, their left hand, propping up that head, and the other hand, they were squatting down, and then the other hand underneath their belly, kind of rubbing it to kind of keep it calm.
I was going to say they're controlling the entire animal with like 4 fingers on their head.
And if I remember correctly, it was a first-year student. I want to say the Sharp girl. She was one of them during showmanship. Might have been premiere. I don't remember if it was. I have to go back. But she was literally holding it with one hand. And this girl's, I don't know, but she'd be 40 pounds maybe.
She's pretty small.
And, I mean, smaller than you. And so she wasn't very tall. And here she was holding this, 140-pound lamb with one hand and keeping it calm.
And I was going to say that references, last year we had the little shear girl competing for beef. Wasn't any bigger, than the girls showing sheep, and she's out here holding the 1,400-pound steer and controlling that thing extremely well with the halter and the show stick. I think that's what's been most impressive to me watching this contest over the last couple of years. Even young 4-Hers, who might be small in stature or whatever, can still be very successful when they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And so you see some of them, what they're doing is they're pulling on that neck. They want to pull up. The idea, the goal is to get your hands as non-visible as possible. When we talk about the cattle here in a little bit, that's one of the things we heard the judge say the other night. Let me see your calf. Get away from that calf. And the same thing with this. Let me see that neck. They want to see that long, extended neck. It looks like Jasper, if you're watching him, he's showing it. We mentioned Jasper's representing the sheep. So he should know what he's doing. He's doing a good job here. Well, they all are, but you get what I'm saying? He's doing a good job presenting it. Now he's turning around. So you notice how he turned on the other side? He's standing to the side. He's standing behind the front legs. What I mean is not standing in front of it, showing off to the judge. And you watch. He's the one closest to you in the camera with the blue shirt on. Watch when she turns that corner, what he does, and trying to. But now she's going to come back.
It looks like she's not going to cross that corner.
Maybe she will. We'll see.
You predicted that a little bit too early.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Oh, there he goes. And so she told him to present in the front because she wanted to see the back tag. But that's okay. But the smoothness that walking around there, kudos to these kids, especially the one that got loose. I mean, I'm looking at them right now, and they're breathing. They're saying, you know what? We made it. We survived.
I was going to say she's very calm and collected even after that.
For being that. So that was a fun experience.
That concludes sheep. Give them a hand. They're doing an excellent job. And this is not an easy challenge. These are new animals to each one of these kids and new species for many of them, if not most of them. So give them a hand because this is a big, big challenge. Up next, we have beef. Following beef will be goats, and our last class of the night will be starter calf.
Well, you either love or you hate the sheep coming in the Supreme Championship Showman. That's just how it is for everyone. You love them or you hate them. So it's over. So good job, guys. As I sit and judge those, I look for a couple things. I stick with my aggressiveness. I like the intense look. Hand placement is a big one. Feet placement and body placement. Those three things when you show sheep are crucial for no matter the show, showmanship, no matter the animal, acting good, acting bad. So that's kind of the few things I'm looking for the sheep. So thank you, guys.
Okay, with us we have Brandon Chaineman, a former Supreme Showmanship winner. Brandon, do you remember what year you won?
I believe it was 2017.
2017, okay. So do you remember much about your experience?
That's been a night or two ago, but it was great. Just coming out here and being able to participate in something like this, it's something a lot of 4-Hers dreams look forward to.
Yep.
Just the camaraderie you get over the years of growing up with the kids that you're competing against and the fun and everything. It's just a great time.
Yeah. So what species were you representing that year? Do you remember?
I believe it was the dairy steers.
Dairy steers, okay. Which is good because we're getting ready to do the beef, and we'll let you discuss here in a little bit when they come in here. So right now they're drawing, just so you know, they're drawing for the numbers, and they're getting ready to come in with the beef here. So, Brandon, who are some of the people that helped you along the way? Because that was your 10th year, right? You won it? Okay.
Correct.
Who are some of the people that helped you, and what are some things they did for you to get you to be successful by your senior year, your 10th year?
Family was the biggest thing. I mean, having everybody there supporting you, helping you all those years, having cousins in it that were years ahead that could teach you and being able to follow up working with them, and then also the other older exhibitors that you were able to grow up competing against, like I said, and asking advice from them, whether it was about how to hold the halter, how to hold the show stick, how how to look at the judge, which pace, how you're going to attack the ring, just kind of all those things. Was just family, friends.
Family and friends. So when you found out you were representing, did you had a lot of family and people come up, friends, say, hey, we're going to help you and get you ready, right?
Right. And it's a little different now, too, because they have moved the show since then. So when the steer show that I won was actually Wednesday night back then instead of Sunday night now. So there's a lot less time to prepare, whereas if you win it Sunday night, you got till tonight to ask and practice or do whatever. So it was kind of quick to try to hurry up and ask friends from other species to give you a few pointers and to try to make the best of it. But it's one of the best, in my opinion. It's one of the funnest just events that you can be a part of at the fair, as far as just being able to show different things and things you hadn't kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So.
Right. So what would you say was your least favorite species you got to show that day, or someone you like maybe didn't enjoy doing, or maybe it was tougher, or
I'd probably say the goats, honestly, because I'm so tall, it made it look like I was just dragging the thing along behind me.
And if you've never met Brandon Chaneyman, when we say tall, that's a little he's tall and big, and so trying to hold a 80, 90-pound goat.
I'm not sure if the judge thought I was leading it or trying to choke it out. So
you mean you could have picked it up with one hand and carried it around,
right?
And I could see. I thought maybe he was going to say poultry, because a lot of people are like poultry or and stuff like that. But you've obviously you've worked with cattle all your life, right? Because your family is in a dairy business.
Yep.
What are some things you learned from working with your family in the dairy industry?
I mean, one of the biggest things I think is you got to spend time with these bigger animals. I mean, you can't just walk into it one day and expect them to perform how you want them to the next. I mean, it just takes so much time to get them hauled or broke and tying them up and working with them and getting them used to you, getting them used to their surroundings. I mean, we spent many, many nights, just taking them all over the place, just, trying to get them used to every situation, loud noises, different things, vehicles, trees, just trying to get them used to a situation that they're going to be here, where there's kids screaming, there's cameras flash. I mean, there's things going on constantly, fans. I mean, just to get them to calm down, to work with them, to get them broke. And a lot of times you can get these animals, once you work with them enough, and just like Kale this morning in that dairy show, you can get them to where they know how you're walking, you know how they're walking. You can just flow right together like a team. I mean, it's really neat.
That was impressive for the judge to notice that. And if you get to watch a dairy show, when Kale, we was talking about Kale winning the premiere, when Kale's right foot would move back, his heifer's right foot would move forward, and then the left and the right, and so it was moving and stuff. And we've talked about before when the starter calf, you are a team, and that heifer knows Kale and was walking with Kale, so that was impressive.
Right,
you're right.
Right, and you can get it. I mean, working with them enough, you get to the point where you almost can kind of feel like, right when they're on that step, you're gonna switch quick, switch your hands, grab that stick, and get them put and set up and stick them right there. So you're not wasting extra time trying to reset their legs. You kind of just catch them right in there as they're walking. So
So you did dairy steers. So talk to us. I mean, this is the beef portion, which is, these are all colored cattle, but it's similar to dairy steers. Talk to us. What are some of the things the showman should be doing right now, or throughout this whole process here?
Just noticing, just looking out right now, noticing a few of these young exhibitors, just how they're holding the sticks. Sometimes they might get a little sloppy with it or whatever. That's real important. That a lot of people said, doing that at the state level. A lot of the judges down there, you gotta be presentable with that stick all the time. You got to know where it's going to be. You got to know where it's at. Making sure you look like you're on point. You're not slouched down. You're ready to go. When you make that transition from your left to your right hand to grab that holder, you're not fumbling it around. You're not dropping it. You know right where your holder lead's going to be. Just kind of practicing that. And a lot of times when we work with them at home, we always took a show stick, so we were practicing that exchange when we were setting them up. And so the first time you got in the ring wasn't the first time you were trying to set them up.
Right.
So.
And something unique, like these, like we said, these are what we call colored cattle, right? Probably all of these have had a show stick. I know sometimes in showmanship, Premier. I remember one year dairy steer. Not everybody that has a dairy steer will use a show stick. So these 8 individuals, they got to say, okay, this animal doesn't know what a show stick is. I'm going to pretend to be using my show stick to calm it.
Right.
And so that's a trick to be able to know your animal.
Right.
So we're watching, and you can see the camera. It looks like a couple of them. They're setting them up. So what do they use show stick for besides obviously walking around? What are they doing?
Basically, a lot of times you can get their front feet set with your own feet if they're real close. You don't have to mess with the stick. But if their front feet are off a little bit, you can just get right there behind the dew claw or the pasture in there and kick that thing forward and stop them with your foot. But basically reaching back there to set them back feet how you want them staggered just right so that judge can see the best profile and have get that animal, make sure the feet's not too spread out and not too far underneath, but right in that sweet spot to make sure that thing is presented the best. And then also when you get that thing stuck, rubbing the belly or rubbing the neck, just keeping them calm to make sure that they know that, hey, this is where we need to be. This is where we're calm. This is where we're going to be. And a lot of times too, you can reach back and if they had to use the bathroom or whatever in here, just reach back there and pop that tail head down to make that thing sit back in place and look presentable.
Well, we've seen a young man almost let go of his heifer earlier today during the dairy show because his calf or his heifer decided to relieve herself, and he tried to get her tail to go back down, and with his one hand, and he kind of lost track of himself and let go of her lead, and luckily he got her before he got off on her.
Right.
But I mean, so we've said this enough tonight, but we keep saying this again. So here we are. We got a 12, 13, 1,400 pound steer heifer. These kids have not touched this particular animal. Even like I know a couple of them out here. They work with cattle, but if their steer is acting up, they can't do anything about it. So they got to be calm the whole time, because they're all different. They're all. I mean, like some of these steers, they're probably used to. So like Brandon, when you were doing it, your steer or heifer was comfortable with you. Then you put a little person or some other person on it that like they're going, what's going on here? Who is this?
Right. Yeah, there was many a times, I'd be walking a steer there, getting it ready and back at home in the barn, and then my sister would hop on it and he would think he could just run all over because he was, instead of me being a foot taller than him, he's looking at somebody that's eye level or a little less, and he just wanting to go. So they can definitely tell who's on the holder. And they know. So it's if you got to stay calm and try to. Sometimes it's hard because I speak from just my experience being a bigger guy. It was more times than not it was easier for me to kind of push them around if I needed to a little bit.
Right.
A lot of these young ladies, it's sometimes it's a little harder for them to, throw that big head around if they need to make the corner or if they throw their head back to them to kind of push them back the way they need to be. So, just making sure they try to stay calm out here. And some of these, if they get in a bad situation, a lot of times it's not always bad to try to either look for help or, in the show ring. Now tonight, obviously, they're showing for Premier. It's a little different story. But when you're in the show ring, during the regular fair, maybe look for a little help or turn back in the other way to
exactly
pull them away.
So what the judge is doing now is she is switching the animal with the members and letting them try a different animal to see how they behave. And you notice the one right now, she's walking around. She's inspecting the steer and it's like, okay, what do I need to look for? Maybe some flaws, stuff like that. This in case that judge comes to ask, hey, what do you think about your steer or heifer? What do you like about it? Not like about her. So.
Yep.
And that's another thing of, we take for granted with showmanship. You need to know what are some good traits you need to look for your animal. Mm-hmm. Obviously this is doing multiple species, but in the beef show or dairy show, what's a good dairy cow look like?
Right.
What's a good steer look like?
Right.
So.
Right.
So, Brandon, a couple more questions real quick. We'll let you go. I know you're here with your family. You want to enjoy it. We appreciate everything. But any advice? So let's say we got some young members listening, young 4-H'ers, maybe some grandparents, parents, and their 4-H'ers are coming up. What are some advice you would have for them to look up if they want to do this particular event? What was some advice you'd give them?
Just work hard. It's like anything in life. The more you do it, the better you get. The more repetition, the more easier it feels, the more comfortable you get. And ask older kids. I don't even know how many are out here. 8 kids out here tonight.
Yeah.
Ask these kids that are in here doing it. They've obviously made it this far. They're definitely the top in their species. Ask them for some help. Ask them for some favors. All these kids out here.
Right.
I know most of them. They're all going to be helpful to give you some pointers and to help you. To make yourself a better showman.
Right.
No matter what species you're in.
Right.
And there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And just like I said, just work with it.
Yep.
Just work with it.
Exactly. Well, Brandon, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and can't believe it's been 10 years. You said 9-10 years. It's crazy. We're getting old. But thank you again, Brandon, and continue all the work you're doing with the 4-H program, especially with the dairy part of it. We appreciate it and all your support. And have a good rest of the fair.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
appreciate
thanks.
it.
Yep. So like we said, we're still doing the dairy here. They're going to be the beef. They're going to be wrapping up here in a little bit. They're going to be doing the goats. And then we finish up with the starter calves. So these kids are doing good. Like I just can't stress that enough. If you're out there watching, you're thinking, "Oh, what's the big deal?" These kids, they're holding an animal, and this animal they've not touched. And so trying to gain composure, trying to be calm, and trying to do the best job of helping the judge see your animal. And that's tricky with that. So, but he mentioned some things with this is the portion of the beef showmanship. The show stick is a big thing. Some of the things we didn't talk about. If you see, a lot of them have a comb in their back pocket. These animals have a lot of hair on them, and I don't know. I missed it if she did, but sometimes the judge will go and they'll take and they'll mess up the hair, and they want to see if that student's going to comb that hair to make it look nice. Sometimes I've seen judges take some sawdust and throw on. They don't do as much because kind of like a they don't want to mess up a student's animal. Make it get a lot of sawdust and shavings in it. But anyways, they can do it for cleaning purposes. But they're doing a great job right now, and she's kind of finishing up. A lot of times with every species, she wants to keep them walking around and wants to see them set a couple times. Like one of the things is, so they walked in that ring, maybe it wasn't as cooperative, but did they get it to calm down, and did they calm down themselves to get that animal to cooperate? I don't know. What's it been? Almost 10 minutes. We've been looking at the beef animals. So did they get to calm down in that 10 minutes? Now, it's not the 4-H'ers' fault if it didn't. Some of these, we've talked about that, some of these animals just will not cooperate. Mary's back on with us. Do you remember the year that you had a big, I think it was a Hereford steer, that would not walk for you?
I was going to say that was my my very first experience in Supreme Showmanship, actually. And like I said before, I was a little tiny 5th grader. And I mean, I barely came to that cow's nose. I mean, I was tiny. Trying to control that big Hereford steer, not only was I so much smaller than it, that darn thing did not walk with anything in it. So I had all the ring help possible trying to get that thing just to walk from point A to point B.
I think we found out later that, and talking with the owner of that steer was comfortable with them, and
they were a lot taller.
Than us. Just a tad bit, and so a lot taller in them, so they were comfortable. And then they seen this little bitty girl, and they're like, "No, I'm not moving." And I'm not kidding you. Watching from stands, I remember it to this day. They just put their feet down and they stood there. They were not moving at all.
I might be wrong. You can correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure the owner of that steer is now my brother-in-law.
Yes, sir. That is yes. It is your brother-in-law, and so you can thank him later tonight for that experience, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it made it memorable.
Maybe, text him and say, hey, thanks a lot. So no, I mean, and that's the thing with these steers. The kids are, man, they're doing a great job right now. They got them to calm down, and so they're getting tired. They've been at this for 2 hours now, and they still have 2 more species. The good thing
I was going to say this is a long evening mentally because you're like switching modes every 10-15 minutes. But then when you've got 8 of them, you're doing that consistently for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then I think something maybe we haven't talked about too is just the huge mindset switch between each species. Yeah. You almost got to fully reset between each of them and then get into the next mode. And that's a little exhausting.
Yeah. And I mean, this has been, if you're involved in 4-H at all or been around, I mean, like they came in Saturday morning, some of them at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they've been here all day Saturday. And these kids are working with their animals. They're showing all week. They're exhausted physically this week. I mean, right now, when you watch Wednesdays is always interesting to watch because it's like a dead zone. And what I'm saying is, like, everybody's tired and exhausted. You know, they've been up
this afternoon between the dairy show and then when everybody arrived tonight for Supreme, it was about as empty as the fairgrounds can be.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like going home to take a nap and reset, come back tonight to essentially finish strong.
Right, finish the fair. And so they've been showing their animals all week, working with their animals all week, and so looks like the judge is going ahead and place them, had the kids turn around. And again, if you didn't catch that portion of it, she is ranking them 1 through 8. So the one person that she feels did the best on the species today, right now, is getting a 1. And the one that she felt maybe struggled or didn't do as well, not necessarily anything bad, but just maybe didn't handle it as well, is going to get an 8 on that. And then at the very end, they're going to tally them up. And like Mary mentioned, the one with the least amount of – so this is like golf. You want the least amount of points.
Yeah, I was going to say the more 1s and 2s you have, essentially, the better. Yeah. So the tally adds up just – your rankings. It's not
now
subjective.
Dismiss our beef class. Give them a round of applause for a great class. Following beef will be goats up next. Then starter calf will be our last class.
Looks like they're kind of wrapping up. Like I said, we're getting ready to do goats here. Now, I don't know on the goats. Sometimes they do it different. Sometimes it's going to be a dairy goat. Sometimes it's a meat goat.
We have 2 species left, so we're getting down to the final straw here. With beef, that's kind of my homegrown project, so that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We've spent a lot of hours out in the yard working on showmanship, so this is something that we do very often. What I look for with beef is confidence. You got to have the confidence to work those large animals. You got to have the right feet placement. When you hold the halter, I want you guys to hold it like this instead of like this or any other way. And when you lead, it's like this. So that's a big part in showing with that too. The way you hold your show stick and the way you position that heifer's head. Heifer or steer, I should say. I understand there's cattle that are kind of acted up, which is why I kind of switched some around. So there was nothing she did bad or anything. It was just to give everyone a fair chance out here. So if you would give them all a round of applause, that'd be great. Thank you.
I think she keeps echoing the same thing as the composure, keeping calm, and that is the biggest thing with showmanship. I've seen all throughout the years listening to judges and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Regardless of species, to be honest.
Yeah. So we failed to mention who was representing the beef. We had that, and I apologize. Okay, so the sheep was Jasper Shuck. We said that Allison Gilbert was representing the beef and beef portion of it. So we're getting ready for goats, and I'm trying to be careful on this. But you said you got some history information for us, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say we've got. I don't think you can see it here on the announcer stand in the video, but we've got the traveling trophy that whoever wins Supreme Showmanship will get to keep for the year, and then they return it back to the fair, and then it will be given to the next year's winner. So the traveling trophy kind of goes home with them. But the cool thing is on the side of the trophy, it has the names of everybody who's won and the years in which they won. And so it kind of, the trophy holds all the history of everybody. So it looks like the first one on here I don't know if this was the first Supreme Showmanship contest in Adams County, maybe the first that they used this trophy for, or kind of what this represents, but looks like it was in 1989 with Rhonda Young. That was maybe the first one on the list here. We've got quite a few people who have won multiple times. So since then, I think the one right now that holds the record, we've got J.D. Neidlinger in the early 90s, won 3 different times. He holds the record right now. There's quite a few on here who have won it twice. So that's exciting. But definitely he's the only one who's won 3, so he holds the record right now.
Right. And that's, there again, we've talked about this before. Every county is different. Currently, right now in our county, you can come back and represent. And we mentioned one of these students out here actually has won it already, and so they're vying for the chance to win it again. So we allow the members to come back multiple times, and that way they can to try to win it multiple times with that.
I was going to say that's unique too, because a lot of counties it's kind of a one and done once you win, or some counties even once you compete, you're done. If you win your species, you're done. So I think it's exciting that Adams County doesn't limit you at your species or limit you in your involvement in, because they get to continue coming back and competing and giving them the chance.
So we're going to talk about goats here for a little bit. They're showing meat goats with them, and so they have the chain halter on them, and you can see.
Looks like most of these are boar goats out here.
They call them choker chain leads on there. So again, the students taking, it's kind of similar to sheep. They're taking that halter, they get the head stick up, and then they're trying to set the legs, and then try to stand to the side, being calm as much as possible. And again, showing the profile. So as the judge walks around, they're probably going to step to the side. Yep, you see them all stepping to the side. Where are their feet in relation to the animal with that? So that's what the judge is looking for. And then as the judge walks by, if your animal moves, did you fix it? And hopefully by now they're all kind of staying in the spot. Since the judge has passed, you can hear. But Alyssa Frichty is representing the goats today. And so you're going to hear them later on introduce themselves and what species they're representing on that. So
it's interesting. I was looking here at the trophy. You just mentioned Alyssa. It looks like her mom is a previous winner of the award, 1999, Miss Elizabeth Adams. So it's kind of fun. We talked about it a couple times in Darien, and we talked about it in the Starter Calf show when we were on. But it's really cool that Adams County has such a generational history of 4-H here.
Yeah.
So not only these members are maybe second and third generation 4-Hers, but they are second and third generation Adams County 4-Hers.
Right. And I know you didn't hear it when Brandon was talking. He had a lot of family and stuff like that. So he got to watch family and friends win this or compete in this, and he was like, hey, I want to do that. And so I am sure, I don't know that personally, but I'm guessing that Elizabeth has shared with her daughter, Alyssa, hey, this is what I did, this is what I wanted. Maybe at a young age she got excited and she goes, I want to do that. And so then she brought her to the show, the 4-H fair, probably at a young age, and showed her about this contest. And Alyssa's like, hey, I want to do that. And so they're doing it. And again, I think there's some other siblings out here that their siblings or friends or cousins have done it as well. And so that's what they're doing. So
I was going to say, I don't know if we've ever had – have we ever had a sibling duo compete in Supreme Showmanship against each other?
That's interesting. I'm trying to remember. I'd have to go back. My memories right now, I don't remember it, but that don't mean it didn't happen.
I was going to say, I wonder if there's maybe been one of those previously, because you've got so many who maybe have kids close in age, and if the families are extremely competitive in multiple species, we've mentioned there's a lot of crossover. Not all of them, but quite a few of these members show multiple of these species, especially if they're involved in cattle. They might show beef and starter calf. That's probably the most crossover. I know we've got a couple out here who show beef and sheep, or we've got some that do beef, sheep, and pigs. So some of that crossover might also be within families competing, so you might end up having siblings competing.
Right. Nope, exactly. And again, we talk about the uniqueness of Adams County. So Brandon mentioned the beef show was Sunday night. So it was Allison Gilbert won the beef show. Now, this, if you weren't paying attention, but on the starter calf, she was runner-up in the premiere. So let's say she would have won the starter calf as well. Well, according to the rules, she has to represent that first species she won in. So she would have to represent the beef. So that would mean in the starter calf division, they would have to pick the second place individual. She couldn't say, you know what, I want to represent starter calves, so whoever got second in beef, they're going to represent the beef. And so they couldn't
It's whatever
do that.
you won first in the week,
Correct.
chronologically.
Correct. And so you say, well, what's the big deal? Well, maybe you can compete better against the person that you got second in the night before, but it doesn't happen. So she's moving them around. You can see that. and you watch them how they're walking around the ring, and you notice the students, again, you want to keep the animal between you and the judge at all times. So she's working on with them one-on-one. Now she just told the one to bring their goat to the line over here. So she's watched how they parade around into that. So, quiz question. What's the meat called from a goat?
Oh, my. Well, if anybody was listening during the Starter Calf show, they know that he already asked me this question, and I failed miserably.
That's all
but
right.
I remember the answer now.
Okay.
Chevron.
Yeah. So
look at that, guys.
Yeah.
I learned something in animal science class. Well, no, I was going to say clearly I didn't learn it then. I just remember it from the other night. But
well, you've had a few things happen in your life since you took animal science.
I was going to say that's my excuse. It's been a few years.
We'll give you that excuse on that for forgetting. But so yeah, I can't say I personally had goat cheese or milk or meat. Maybe that's just something I do in my animal science. I need to have a day where they experiment and taste.
No, you should do it as a mystery meat. You can't tell them what it is.
Yeah, that's true. I can
Might
do
freak
that.
some of your students out, though.
I do a portion of animal science. We do different cuts of meats, and we show them how to cook them, and then we have them try them out just to get the exposure of. Because I was kind of shocked one year when we were talking about it. Like, we had a student, they said they've never eat a piece of steak. And I'm like, really? And we take that for granted. Now, they're not opposed to it, but they said their family has never cooked steak.
I was going to say, a friend of mine had never had a pork chop before until we served as state FFA officers together. She had never eaten a pork chop. And, I mean, get this, had never had corn before. I don't, frankly, know how you live in Indiana. I've never had corn before.
Right. It's all around us, right?
I'm hoping she wasn't just yanking our chain, but I think she was quite serious that she's never had it.
Yeah, that's crazy. But the goat industry is good here in Adams County. I mean, the goat show, if you were unable to watch it, was a good goat show. Like we mentioned,
it was Monday morning, wasn't it?
Yes, and they do meats and dairy here, and so they have a lot of different breeds and really good competition. The Goat Club does a great job running their show and getting the kids ready for this. So it looks like
I was going to say they have a lot of volunteers who are very well organized. Like they've kind of run that show as a well-oiled machine.
And I know Goat Show personally. They do fundraisers like a car wash and a food sale. And that's the thing. If you're paying attention on the news or newspaper, whatever, when you see these fundraisers, go support these 4-Hers. This is what your money is going towards, helping out with awards, helping out with things like this. And so they're going for this kind of event right now. And so that's what's cool about this experience. So these kids.
Give our showmen a round of applause for the goat class. Our final class of the evening is going to be starter calf. Our showmen are going to redraw numbers and then prepare for starter calf.
So, what I was looking for in the goats is pretty much the same thing as I've been saying all night. The intense look, the correct feet, hand, and body placement. Your animal is in line. Granted, I know some of them are jumping around, kind of moving around to your best ability. And really just having that posture. Having that posture that kind of demands your attention. So, last species tonight, let's give them all one big round of applause.
I was going to say, it looks like we're going here into the very last one.
Yeah.
Starter calves is it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I failed to mention, so last night we had our ambassador program awards. And if you're watching the dairy, you had heard me say that Alyssa Frichte won the Royal Ambassador. And so she's actually out here competing. But with this, and we mentioned with the poultry, is Caitlin Borney. She is the distinguished ambassador. So them two young ladies will spend the year representing Adams County at different events. Like, for example, we have the Swiss Days Parade coming up. I imagine they're going to try to be there.
I was going to say they're kind of the face of Adams County 4-H for like the next year because, I mean, not every member can kind of be the face So
Yep.
that's what those two girls are going to
Yeah.
be doing.
And radio, like I know throughout the last week or two, I've heard them on the radio promoting the fair and stuff like that. So yeah, they're bringing in starter calves now, and they have the show stick. Looks like these are dairy steers.
feeders, yeah.
I don't see any cross yet, but we'll see. If we remember the dairy steers,
Doesn't look like any of them.
yeah.
Which is interesting because I know, just as a note, the person I think who won for starter calf won with a beef starter calf.
Yeah, and again, the judges in front of us, we won't say the name because that way, cat doesn't get out of the bag per se. Is that you want to say? Yeah. So these boys and girls are doing great. They've got to be exhausted, and so but they're keeping fighting because they know if they can keep fighting and do a good job, they might be able to pull out that win. So it's a neat experience to be able to go through this. Hopefully these kids will leave tonight, win or lose, hold their head up. It's like, I gave it my best. And here's another thing to think about too. There are kids in the stand. There are kids at the fair. They've never in their 10 years got to experience this. I know.
I was
going to
say they're probably sitting there thinking they'd give anything to be one of those 8 in the ring.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think, especially for these 8, they should not only recognize what an achievement it is for them to have gotten in there, but also to recognize how grateful they should be for that opportunity, because we talked a little bit when Lindsay was on that sometimes you never know if that opportunity is going to come around again because they have to requalify every single year just because they've been in it. It doesn't earn that.
And that's cool, too, because, let's say, and since the judge is not here, we can mention this. The starter calf representative tonight is Cooper Steele. But let's say, for example, Cooper. Cooper's a 9-year member. He gets 1 more year. They don't automatically let him representing the starter calf next year. Mm-hmm. He has to earn it again.
Yeah.
And so
I was going to say, I guess I was wrong. I was thinking I know a couple of them show. Cooper he did win starter calf with a dairy feeder. I was confused that it was beef.
Yeah.
But
no, that's all right. That's what's cool. What about some? We talked about some other former winner. I know earlier this week we interviewed Courtney Lauder and then Troyer. I see Heidi Minnick on here a couple times, and so I see some different names just going through the history of it. You mentioned siblings. If you look at 1990, 91, 92, there's 3 individuals, the same last name, but the first name's different. Siblings, Ben and Eric Culp. So that's pretty cool to be able to see some of that differences with that. So a lot of 2 and on there. So
I was just going to say, I was looking on here this whole time. I had no idea. Speaking of brother-in-laws, my other brother-in-law has won this twice. We got Luke Leakty on here.
Yeah,
so that's funny. All this time, and I've never asked him about his experience in Supreme.
You know what they should do? I think they should do. They should bring back all the winners that have ever won this and
do
let
an All-Stars.
Let them do All-Stars. Yeah, let's do it. Even if they won it, what'd you say the first year was 1989? Let's bring the first ones back and see how they compete. That'd be a fun experience.
I was going to say, just in general, I think an old-timers showmanship portion.
Don't
I know
say
a lot
old-timers.
Well, no, that's what it's called at a bunch of open shows.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of the parents or the volunteers out for part of the show with showmanship, and you make the adults fight it out with the kids.
Or what about we get like someone like Clint Anderson to get out there and do
showmanship?
Well,
I was going to say, you get some people out there who've maybe never shown before. That could be quite exciting.
He's giving a hard no on that one. I think we'd have a lot of people pay to watch some of that. Not only you, but other people. Yeah,
you
exactly.
have to pay for the hospital bills.
Well, I'm going to be honest, Clint. I never got to experience showmanship like this, and so I only did it through you, Mary, as a 4-H'er. So I wouldn't say I would be any good either. So
well, I was going to say, I think a lot of the parents too. They may have done it before, but having this long showing's just different. We've had a lot of people on to say in the last couple of years even. So it'd be very interesting to see even people who have shown before have been involved coming back maybe kind of all these years later and showing the calves are different, the environment and what showmanship looks like is
well,
different.
we talked about the show stick earlier with Brandon. I remember, 20-some years ago, you didn't see the show stick a lot with these dairy steers. Like right now, we got dairy steers out here, calves, starter calves. You didn't see the show stick as much, and so some of the parents probably had never messed with the show stick.
That's true.
And so that would be a fun experience. Yeah, I think if someone from the Adams County Council and Fair Board is listening,
I was going to say Fair Council should listen up.
Let's pick a night and do some entertainment and bring it and get 8 volunteers to come and show off their skills, huh? Yeah, there you go, government officials. So Matt Lehman, if you're listening, you're on.
I was just going to say, let's get Matt out here. Well, and if they're really looking to pull a crowd for an evening, I mean, that's one heck of a way to do it.
Talk about fundraisers. Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But
I'd love to see Matt out here either showing a chicken or a sheep. I'll make a note. I'll have to tell him at church.
Oh, so Clint's getting some messages about people wanting to see him. Hey, bring him on. Just keep texting him and bring it on. I think we need to.
I was going to say, the more momentum you get around that, that's the kind of thing that people totally would pay to look at.
Yeah. And while we're at it, and again, we've said this before, and I can't say it enough. Here in Adams County, we are super blessed and fortunate to have someone like Berne Witness to do the webcasting of this. And I think Clint got sick and tired of people harassing him about doing commentary. And so he may decide, I don't know, because if they're going to harass me on air, he may not do commentary again. But anyways, we just appreciate Clint and the Berne Witness and all the supporters. I know we've been running supporters and stuff. The amount of supporters, you don't understand how much we appreciate that. So if you're watching and you want to be a part of supporting this, whether it be tonight in the fair or during the sport events, I mean, if you don't know that, Berne Witness, they do the 3 county schools here in Adams County and Bluffton. They do Bluffton as well in a lot of the events, from football to in basketball, volleyball, wrestling, baseball, softball. So it's great to be able to have this opportunity. I'd be curious how many county fairs webcasts like this.
Not very many, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's probably growing in popularity, but I know a lot of people who come to attend our fair, maybe even in person, and kind of see then that we're doing it. They say, man, we really wish our county did that.
And saying all that, again, I wish you guys could see in the stands. They are packed. It is standing room only. It felt like the starter calf show and the beef show. Because I'm looking around, I don't hardly see any empty seats. I see people standing around because, one, they know it's getting close. The great weather, last night of the fair. Just an FYI, tomorrow they'll have cleanup in the morning. Then they do auction tomorrow. I'm not sure. Auction started.
I think it's 4, correct?
3
4
or
o'clock.
4? Yeah.
4 o'clock tomorrow here in the show ring.
Yeah.
They'll get started.
Yeah, so if you're interested in helping out with the auction, it looks like the order, just FYI, at 4 o'clock to start with the beef, then the horse and pony showmanship. They're not going to auction off the horse and pony, just the person who won showmanship. I'd imagine seeing that. The sheep, the goats, starter calves, poultry, the dairy showmanship, rabbits and swine. Again, dairy showmanship, they usually have a basket of some sort on that. So that's tomorrow night if you're interested in supporting and even coming and watching for the auction. It's been great. So it's just been a great fair this week. The weather's been amazing to see and stuff like that. So it looks like in a little bit, too, when they're done, they are going to do some introductions. So we're going to, when they get ready to talk, and we're going to shut up and let you guys listen to them. But these kids have done an amazing job, worked hard. I just hope they leave knowing how proud everybody is of them, and go and thank the people that worked with them when they.
I was going to say, there's a lot of people who got them to that point.
Yeah, exactly. And who helped you this week? You may not have won, but who helped you prepare for tonight with that? We should, I guess, Mary, we should talk about starter calves. I know we talked about it the other night. Some things they're looking for, the judge should be looking for. Obviously, if you're noticing that they got that show stick, they're keeping that, kind of similar. They're keeping that calf calm. Now, when we say calf, these can range, they don't look like, I don't see a 650 in here, but they could be anywhere, I think some of them were like 200 pounds to 650 pounds, but look like they're all similar, not that big. But anyways, they're keeping this calf calm. They're using that show stick maybe to set the feet, rub on their belly or their brisket in there, trying to keep them calm, keeping the head up. set them in place. You notice the one, she slowly started walking in, and she grabbed that show stick before she set it in place, trying to get that calf. So when it walked, that calf walked right into the set. And so that's another sign of a good showman that they're trying to do. And so you can see.
I was just going to say that the good showmen know how to be as efficient as possible. I think that's one of the things she's mentioned, regardless of species, but especially with the calves here, they have that show stick to help kind of guide, help them set legs, help keep them calm. But it's also ironic. It's the least amount that you have to use it. Is this also the sign of a good showman, where these guys obviously maybe haven't built an established connection with that calf because they've known it for about 4 minutes. But for those showmen kind of being able to walk it in comfortably, get it set as quick as possible, and not have to use that show stick as often.
Well, these animals aren't stupid. They can sense when you're nervous and calm and stuff. They can sense your attitude and stuff like that. So that's what's neat about this is we don't realize how smart these animals are. They know what's going on and stuff like that. So here she's having them turn around, and I didn't catch exactly what she said, but I see them turn around and doing something. Let's see when she's going to make them walk down on that. Getting them to walk can be a challenge as well. They do have a chain underneath the chin, but
I was going to say holding that show stick when you walk too. It's kind of an awkward when you're transitioning that and the halter between your hands, making that a smooth transition and not dropping the show stick and not dropping it.
Right, you got to be smooth about it, and that finesse and smoothness of it, and getting it to transition quickly to one to the next.
I was going to say she's really kind of working these showmen on this one. They've walked around probably 4 or 5 times now, and just really getting them to see how they walk pretty well, then to see how quickly they can set up in different environments. So it looks like, I know when you and Brandon were talking, it looks like they switched calves too for beef. So that was referencing, if you heard Lindsay talk a little bit about that, it's also part of the composure when they finally get set with an animal here that's still brand new, but they kind of get comfortable after a few rounds, and then the judge makes them switch to another one. They are then watched to their live reaction to that.
No, it's been good with that. So again, I know they're going to mention it here, but we just want to go through again. Representing the horse and pony was Lexi Harvey. Representing the poultry was Xavier Palacios. The swine was Adeline Jordan. The dairy was Cale Beer. The sheep was Jasper Shuck. The beef was Allison Gilbert. The goats was Alyssa Frichty, and the starter calf was Cooper Steele. So it looks like Alyssa and Xavier are the only 10-year members. Am I reading that right?
I think so.
I think that's right. So so the other ones have the potential to come back, and so might have like we said, one of them's out here has already won, so we might have another 2-time winner, or we could have a brand new one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Trying to watch, but it's been tough to kind of watch and see who's been the calmest the whole time. They've all done a great job. It looks like she's placed him now, so we're getting close, Mary. 2.5 hours they've been at this, and so they're going to be exhausted. But it's going to be a night that they won't forget anytime soon. It's a neat experience.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like sitting up here, it kind of feels like it's flown by, but I'm sure for them it really hasn't.
Right.
It's been well over 2 hours now at this point.
Oh, it's easy for us to sit, and it's like, oh, this is flying by.
Give our starter calf class a round of applause, please, for our showmen. They've done a great job tonight. Really, really exceptional young people. As we have them exit the ring, we're going to do some final tallying up of scores. And while we're doing those final tallies, we're going to highlight a couple of the different showmen that we have joining us tonight and read a few bios for them. And here to help me with that is Miss Lindsay Bloom.
Sharing happiness, displaying confidence, and promoting health. Your smile does a lot for you.
And at Riverstone Dental, we make smiles happen.
Across 2 locations at Riverstone Dental, our compassionate dentists and caring staff provides unparalleled care to patients of all ages. Using the latest technology and procedures, we offer an extensive list of general dentistry services. Whether you're stopping in for your routine cleaning and checkup, or you need restorative care, including implants, crowns, bridges, and more, We'll provide quick, comfortable care. Additionally, we perform orthodontic procedures as well. With traditional metal braces or the convenient Invisalign system, we can help you perfect your beautiful smile. Riverstone Dental. We make smiles happen.
To see who wins. So, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support to all of these kids, and I guess let's see who your 2026 Adams County winner is.
So yeah, that was the judge just talking about how much she appreciated and giving the kids kudos for all the hard work with that. And so she's excited because she doesn't even know, as far as what I'm saying is, remember she had to keep numbers and she didn't know the names and she didn't I mean, maybe in her mind she might have an idea who the winner is.
I was going to say, we mentioned that it's based on the tallies, and she's going to rank them by class.
Right.
So she's going to take a look here and see.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the 2026 Round Robin or Supreme Showmanship. We would love to introduce our judge this evening. Harper Henney is from Steuben County, where her passion for livestock and the show ring began at a young age. Throughout her showing career, she had the opportunity to show sheep, beef, cattle, and dairy feeders at the county, state, and national levels. She has competed in showmanship contests across the country, earning 4-time round-robin champion beef showman at the American Royal, and multiple top 5 finishes at the Indiana State Fair and Junior Nationals. Harper is a recent graduate of Purdue University and is now a full-time dairy marketing analyst for Elanco Animal Health. She is incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be here today to judge these exhibitors. Showing livestock and showmanship have been a true passion throughout her life, and she is excited to watch and encourage the next generation of exhibitors as they showcase their hard work, dedication, and passion for the livestock and industry. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and give Harper Henney a round of applause for all of her hard work tonight. All right, let's see if you got the species correct for these individuals. We're going to go ahead and bring each person in the ring one by one. Okay, exhibitors, make sure you wave to the webcast so these people can see your faces that are online, okay? All right, first up, let's start with Lexi Harvey. Her parents are Abby Harvey and Scott Harvey. She is in Horse and Pony Club. Her favorite 4-H memory is winning Versatility Champion and advancing on to Supreme Showman. Her hobbies include horse riding and showing and running track. Continuing, her future plans are to continue with 4-H, then after she graduates, starts her medical career. Her words of advice for younger 4-H members is, your animal is your teammate. Take care of them, and they will take care of you in the ring. Thank you so much, Lexi. Representing the poultry species is Xavier Palacios. His parents are Troy and Kathy Palacios. Xavier is a 10-year 4-H member of the poultry, rabbits, goat, and Pebble Pathfinders. His favorite 4-H memory is spraying people with bubble guns in the parade, and at least saying the words, I can't say that, Xavier, I'm sorry. His hobby includes wrestling, and his future plans are to attend Wabash University to minor in physics and major in mechanical engineering. His words of advice for younger showmen is, your results are decided by your effort, and your effort is decided by your attitude. Have fun with whatever you do, and as always, aim to be the best. Good job, Xavier. Representing the dairy is Kale Beer. Kale is the son of Keith and Lindsay Beer. He is a 9-year 4-H member of the Monroe Country Kids. His favorite memory is winning the state fair with his steer Sniper. His hobbies include working with his cattle, wrestling, and time with families and friends. His future plans are to attend college for dairy science. His words of advice for a younger 4-H member is, no goal is too big if you're willing to put in the time. Good job, Kale.
Representing the swine is Adeline Jordan. Adeline's parents are Brian Jordan and Amanda Jordan. She is a 9-year 4-H member of the Washington Sequoias and Junior Leaders. Her favorite 4-H memory was in 2023 when she won Grand Champion Gilt. Her hobbies include softball, working with her animals, and being with friends. She plans to attend Purdue and major in vet tech after high school. And her words of advice for these younger showmen are focus on improvement, not ribbons. Good job, Adeline. Representing the beef species is Allison Gilbert. Allison's parents are Katrina Gilbert and Doug and Amanda Gilbert. She is a 6-year member of the French Peppery Peppers. Her favorite 4-H memory is hanging out with her friends and eating ice cream. Her hobbies include livestock judging, showing cattle, showing goats, playing volleyball, Her future plans are to graduate high school and go to junior college to judge livestock and become an animal chiropractor. Her words of advice for younger 4-H members are to don't get discouraged if things don't work out the first time. Good job, Allison. Representing the sheep species is Jasper Shuck. Jasper's mom is Teresa Smith. He is a 9-year 4-H member of the Monroe Country Kids, Sheep Club, and Beef Club. His favorite memory is getting to help others and being along the side and through their success. His hobbies include fitting cattle and hanging out with good people. His future plans are to go into the trades and continue to work on breeding show cattle. His words of advice for younger 4-H members are, it's nice to be important, but it's not more important than to be nice. Good job, Jasper. Representing the goats tonight is Alyssa Freakty. Alyssa's parents are Brandon and Elizabeth Freakty. She's a 10-year 4-H member of the French Peppy Peppers and Goat Club. Her favorite 4-H memory is showing goats and getting to hang out with friends. Her hobbies include baking and running. Her future plan is to attend trying to major in exercise science and then pursue a doctorate in physical therapy. Words of advice to younger 4-H members are to always give it 110% at home in the barn, even when no one is watching, because hard work pays off. Good job, Alyssa. Last and certainly not least is Cooper Steele, representing the starter calves. Cooper is the son of Chris and Mara Steele. He is a 9-year 4-H member of the French Happy Hoosiers. His favorite 4-H memory is winning Grand Champion Cross Feeder with Memphis this year. His hobbies include working, being in the show barn, and being with friends. Future plans are to continue raising show cattle and work on the farm. His words of advice for younger 4-H members are take chances, put in the extra hours, and never lose focus on your love for the project. Good job, Cooper. So all 8 of these species representatives will receive a belt buckle sponsored by WZBD, and then they will also receive some apparel sponsored by Steiner Construction. So let's thank those 2 sponsors.
So yeah, you got to hear the introduction of all these young men and women, what they've been doing, what they represented. We kind of mentioned that. So they're getting ready to announce the winner. They're right now taking pictures with the judge.
All right, guys. So now the next step is we need to bring in our 2025 Supreme Showman. Ben Hershey won it last year. All right, so Ben had the opportunity to take this traveling trophy home, and I heard he took really good care of it. I mean, I think it was on the mantle. I think the Duke's baby picture got taken off, maybe. All right, so presenting Ben is his plaque sponsored by Mark Merkel, is Caitlin Borning, our distinguished ambassador. All right, Ben, are you ready to hand over that trophy? Okay, come grab your trophy. No need to waste any more time. So, your 2026 Supreme Showman is Mr. Jasper Shuck.
Okay, so obviously congratulations to Jasper Shuck. Now he has his name on 2 times. So
I was gonna say his second time.
Yeah.
Winning that.
Yep.
Well, and he's a 9-year member, so
Yep. He got one more year.
He's got one more year
Yep,
to
yep.
potentially go for 3.
Yep, there you go. So, hey, again, we can't thank you enough for coming out tonight and this whole week.
As a reminder to all livestock exhibitors, we'll begin set up tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the auction. After that, all your species